Travolting presents Bobbin for Robin. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering Aladdin with special guest Jill Sweeney.
So I finally got an answer to a long, because like it's called a magic lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, how is it a lamp? It's basically like a teapot is the structure of it.
Okay.
But I looked in, it's like a specific type of like Turkish lamp where you'd fill it with oil and the wick would go in the spout. And it would be like kind of like a carryable lamp was the idea.
I never thought about that.
It's like an ancient flashlight, basically.
Interesting. Very interesting. I did not know this. I just also thought it was like a tea thing that they called a lamp.
I was never fazed that it was called a lamp.
I just like the movie started and it starts with like Robin Williams as the urchin, and he like grabs he's like, "There's no ordinary lamp," and I was like, well, "How is that a lamp?" So I had to pause the movie and like look up, how is this a lamp?
Do some research on it.
Because like, do they just call like this type of like china or whatever it is like a lamp? Is it just called a lamp?
But it's the good China.
But it's like truly actively a lamp.
Very good.
Except,
questions here.
Yeah.
Listeners at home, I hope you enjoyed learning this trivia for today.
Welcome back to Bobbin for Robin, season 4 of the Travolting podcast. Thank you for joining us last week for what we very, very carefully said that is not Robin's first animated movie. It's the prior one episode we did before that. Wish for Wings That Work, then Fern Gully, which you listened to last week. And now we are joined by a special guest, Jill Sweeney, for the creme de la creme animation, Robin Williams. Yes. I mean, like, the thing is, like, you say Robin Williams, and, like, I think a bulk of general audiences just think of Aladdin, even though he has obviously more things.
I do earnestly think the Genie is probably his most famous role.
Yeah.
Even though it's like an animation, I do think like he's almost more well known for this than most of his live action work.
Yeah.
My thoughts on this are, this is the one role that can actually match with his brain, his wit.
Yeah.
Like, this is a character that can be anything and anyone and anywhere, and is not he looks like physically, other than him being blue, of course.
Yeah. But
Robin Williams is so fast on stage, but like he cannot put on a Jack Nicholson costume and then change into a Mrs. Doubtfire costume and like look like them. But
and
here,
do like 40 different impressions with 40 different disguises and makeup and costumes.
It's able to make real like the speed and the like the personas he's able to adopt.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this, but like I think what this movie should have opened the door for, but I don't think it did, was the idea that like we're gonna stylize the animation around the voice work.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, of course, they record the lines before they do like the major animations for lip syncing and things like that. But this is where there's a story where like when Robin's going through his lines and he's talking to Aladdin about talking to Jasmine, and in the recording booth, he's like, why don't you just like tell the truth? It's like, oh, like, what? Like I will eventually. And he's like, oh, you liar. And he does a broop, and like they're like, what is that sound effect he's doing? And then they realize, oh, he's doing a Pinocchio bit with the nose growing. So they're like, I guess we got to animate Pinocchio's head on it. Like, we own the character. But that's just, that micro example is like the level of where they are taking all of Robin's bits and putting it in the animation style for his character in this movie.
Yeah, I know they've said that like they have hours and hours and hours of like audio that they could have animated and done. Like, there's enough for like maybe 10 Aladdin movies.
And
recorded.
And this brings to a really good touching point here, because folks, like, I did some research on this movie last night, and I know normally I would have like clips prepared of things to play, but the thing with Aladdin is just go look it up yourselves. There's
Just go watch Aladdin.
There's hours of behind the scenes footage of Robin Williams doing all these bits. Like for me to like pick a favorite clip to play as an example, like would almost be a disservice here. Like I really think that yes, like us talking about the movies is hopefully encouraging people to go actually watch them. But with Aladdin being the case, I think everybody and their mother has seen this movie. I would highly recommend people go out and like watch the behind the scenes footage that is available for this movie. But brings me to the context corner, which is connected to what you were talking about, Jill. So Aladdin is well, first off, I guess like there's a few different context corners here.
I want to note that if you Google Aladdin BTS, it is all like the 2019 Aladdin. It's just Mena Mossad in front of a green screen.
We're going to talk about that.
I mean, I do like that one, but this one's better.
I just like like the most unlive actionable movie you could think of in Disney's repertoire. Like my immediate thoughts are Lion King, Aladdin.
Well, Aladdin is, I would counter, it's actually pretty live actionable,
but with
because it's mostly
Genie.
just like an action adventure movie. That's the kind of the secret sauce of Aladdin.
Also, the live action Lion King is not a live action Lion King.
That's
I
the
will
thing,
stand,
yeah.
I will stand on this hill. That is not a live action.
It has
remake.
one shot of live action in that movie. The opening shot of the sun coming up over the plains is a real shot that they got in Africa, and the rest of the movie's animated.
Yeah. So, but I argue that like with the Genie in particular, that you're setting yourselves up for failure on that front.
Yes. They were, I don't want to get too in the weeds about the 2019
let's not
They
get
did
too-
make the right move, I think, going as far afield from Robin Williams as you could.
They
Yeah.
did. Like I mean, I know he's a little controversial at the moment, but he was a fine choice at the time for the Genie because he is this larger than life personality, but nothing like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
You couldn't try and evoke Robin Williams. You had to go as far left as you could.
Yeah.
And Will Smith, this is before his era of going on every
is
talk
before
show
the
ever
slap.
and talking about his marital problems.
Yeah.
They're like, Will Smith, you're back in the news. You're our we love you for being charming and talking about things. He comes like, me and Jada, we haven't had sex in 6 months. I'm like, Will, stop.
This is one of the context corners I was referring to. There's the Will Smith Aladdin 2019 context corner. There's the making of this movie context corner. There's the Robin context corner. There is the Jeffrey Katzenberg context corner.
There's the Disney Renaissance.
There's the
context
Disney
corner.
Renaissance
Yes.
context. There's a lot of context that builds up to this moment. To get started, I want to start with the Disney Renaissance context corner because I think that's very important to talk about.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad we're discussing this because it was something I would bring up if.
I think Little Mermaid is the kickoff to this like era
Yes.
in Disney. And Little Mermaid came out
Let me recommend
1889.
89.
And
So
it is directed by Ron Clements and John Musker, who
Yes.
directed this film as well.
who direct this film as well. At this point in time, Jeffrey Katzenberg is still like the studio exec at Disney.
Yes.
Walt Disney just Pictures. I don't think at the time they had like a differentiation between Walt Disney Animation versus.
Well, no, it's Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Okay.
WDAS is the main animation studio. Walt Disney Pictures is the overall umbrella for Disney produced movies.
Yeah.
And then Walt Disney Motion Picture Studios is the company that it's like the umbrella corp for all of their movie studios.
Yeah, because
Right.
I think we think about Disney being this like right now it's this company, but like you have to remember back then they didn't have Marvel, they
Yeah.
didn't have Star Wars, they didn't have Pixar. They really just had their own IP, and like the movies in the 80s were terrible.
Yeah.
They were awful.
This is like that period of time. I read a book a few years ago called Disney War. That was it's a very entertaining read. Mm-hmm. It's basically at Michael Eisner's time as the CEO of Disney, from like the early 80s to 2004, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like Disney was in the gutters. That they had never figured out what is the company's direction after Walt Disney's death. They couldn't figure it out. And they were just making slop, like the Black Cauldron.
Oh God, I was gonna say the Black Cauldron.
The Black Cauldron is like insane. That movie is designed for nobody except for sickos. But like,
I never saw it all the way through. We watched it as a family just to see it, and we had to fast forward through the whole movie just to because my mom wanted to know what happened at the end.
yeah,
Jeffrey and I cheered because the character died and then booed because he came back to life.
It's true.
Oh,
His name was
man.
Gurgi.
Gurgi.
I remember.
Oh,
this.
I remember Gurgi.
The thing
from
about the Black
Cauldron.
Cauldron is it's too scary for kids,
Yeah.
too boring for adults, and like only there's like a very slim like line in the center of people who just like want to see this like sicko thing that they're really into. It's a movie about a pig that predicts the future.
Can I
Anyway,
say something?
Yeah, do you like the Black
The bad
Cauldron?
guy is
I
the
might
whole-
be in that little slither.
When's the last time you watched the Black Cauldron?
Like not even a year ago.
Oh, wow.
It was well, Angelica and I went through like an 80s, like we went through like an 80s animation style like
Yeah.
era. Like we watched like the old Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
like Hobbit and Lord of the Rings animation styles. Watched the Black Cauldron. There was a couple other ones that we tried to watch. Like there was something very like interesting about the 80s animation style that I think was pretty cool. It's like just grit and dirt. It's like those are the words I think of when I think of
Yeah.
like I know like Titan AE is not in the 80s, but like I think of like Titan AE, that like grit dirt animation, like
Yeah.
or even like Treasure Planet was kind of like not, it was getting away from that, but you can almost like see a version of Treasure Planet that feels more like gritty. I mean, like, hey, like even like Fern Gully in The Last Rainforest is kind of in this
Yeah.
zone as well. But anyway, and I should also mention like, so this movie comes out in 1992.
Yes.
And during this process, I believe Toy Story has been in development at this point,
Yeah. Well, I want
which is
to.
Pixar. But
I want to go back in time a little bit and finish out like the Michael Eisner context.
oh,
it's
please,
very important. For
please,
this
please,
movie.
please, yeah,
Is like basically he's the president of Paramount, and he's hired to take over Disney because they're just running in this series of flops.
yeah,
He brings with him Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was in Paramount with him, and Frank Wells, who was the Warner Brothers president. And the three of them kind of make like a triumvirate running Disney.
yeah.
Michael Eisner's the CEO.
It's so Roman.
Frank Wells is running like finances, more or less.
Yeah,
And Jeffrey Katzenberg is like the creative director
yeah,
of Disney Pictures in totality.
yeah,
And like they go in and they look at basically what is Disney working on. At the same time, like one of their longest tenured animators, Don Bluth, leaves Disney to go start his own production company called Bluth Productions.
yeah.
I think we talked about him last week, but he goes on to make.
Hey, don't disparage. I hope you didn't disparage my man, John Bluth.
No, I have never seen.
He made Anastasia, and that is one of the top tier and non-Disney animated.
No, the thing is that Don Bluth is very successful, and he starts offering
Okay.
actual competition for Disney. I think they like their movies might have been flops recently, but they haven't had like competition. Is their problem?
Yeah.
But now they
Yeah.
have competition.
They can churn out slop. People see
Yeah,
it.
like people like John Bluth is making movies that people actually want to see that are doing better than Disney movies.
Oh, he did Secret of Nim.
He did Secret
All
of
Dogs
Nim.
Go to Heaven, and he did Titan AE.
Yes, he did do Titan. It's kind of a weird run, but basically, like Michael Eisner sees that they have competition for the first time. Like this animation department's not working, so he moves the animation department out of the main Disney lot in Burbank, where it had been, working for a long time, to a new lot in Glendale to kind of give them distance from the main Disney corporation. And then he puts Jeffrey Katzenberg in charge of fixing this. And Jeffrey Katzenberg is notorious as like extremely difficult personality.
Yeah.
Just like really like come in, you're doing shit, rip up your documents and tell you to start over from the beginning type guy.
Are we going to talk about Black Friday?
We'll talk about Black Friday in a second.
Okay.
But they're poaching good animators as much as they can. They hire John Musker and Ron Clements to come in and do the Great Mouse Detective, which is like which they managed to rush and get out before An American Tail. And it's like it comes out before An American Tail.
Yeah.
But those guys they're like these
Competing
guys.
mouse movies.
Yeah. They're like these guys, they're able to, they have good visual ideas. They're able to get movies in on time and on budget. And so we're just going to kind of keep them in our stable and have them do the Little Mermaid movie. At the same time, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is happening.
Yeah.
Disney gets the rights to it, and Steven Spielberg comes in as the producer of that movie, a guy we've talked about before. And Mr. Steve O. Spielberg. I don't know who that is.
Oh, never heard of him.
But he comes in. I mean, Robert Zemeckis directs that movie, but Spielberg, as the producer, is the one who goes to all the different studios and gets the rights to all their animated characters.
Yeah.
For Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and they trust Disney Animation Studios to do Roger Rabbit. So they completely animate all the animation of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Which is like a big like morale boost to the studio. Having Spielberg involved, Katzenberg, and Spielberg are very close friends.
Yeah.
It's a big morale boost to the studio, working simultaneously with The Little Mermaid, which then comes out and is a big hit.
Yeah. Huge.
And suddenly Disney is now just like, they're back on top. Their animation is cooking again. And as the thanks for the success of The Little Mermaid, they tell Musker and Clements, you can pick your next project.
Yeah.
And they offer them 3 different pitches. One of them is called Swan Lake. One is called King of the Jungle, which eventually becomes The Lion King. And then there's this one, Aladdin, based on 1001 Arabian Nights. And so they picked this project, which had kind of been on the back burner for a little bit because Michael Eisner keeps saying no one wants to see a movie about the Middle East.
Yeah.
But it's their interest in the project that finally propels it into, okay, we will make this movie.
Yeah.
A little fun fact about King of the Jungle is no one wanted to work.
Yeah.
They were working on like Pocahontas at the same time, and they put all the good people on that, and no one wanted to work on this movie called King of the Jungle, and so it's all like second tier people, and we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
All these people had something to prove. Went on to The Lion King. Like, what if we made the best
like
shit ever?
arguably the greatest animated film of all time.
But yeah, and this is sort of the explosion of the Disney Renaissance, as people know. And
like to really loop back to what, Joe, what you were saying is like, and Stuart, I think you're saying this well, is like, this is the first time that we're going to run into like movie star casting in an animated movie.
yes, bingo.
As like being part of the draw.
yes.
Yeah,
For
because Disney
animation in
never
particular.
really relied on the stars in the film to sell their movie.
Like Mickey Rooney is in The Fox and the Hound, but like it's not like you go to see that because it's a Mickey Rooney movie.
Right. Yeah. And do you have any Disney Renaissance, Michael Eisner, Jeffrey
I mean,
Katzenberg
with where
count?
we're at in the timeline, I
Yeah.
think you can take over because
So-
you have the movie.
I was going to say the only thing is I feel like they start to be inspired by Broadway with
Yes.
the music too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with a lot of these movies, you can kind of think of it. There's the opening number, there's the I Want song, like end of Act 1, big number. So it follows the style of a Broadway show, and they start hiring Broadway composers
Yeah, and
songwriters
lyricists to come in.
to do their films, which I think also contributes to, and is
Yeah.
what we kind of now know Disney for is
the
the
songs.
music.
Well, they take a lot of the right lessons from Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of what made that movie like as big as it was. And so when they go to the drawing board on Aladdin, first off, right away, as you mentioned, Jeff, like Jeffrey Katzenberg, there's lots of stories about the turbulence in Walt Disney Animation Studios as it was working under Jeffrey Katzenberg for that. I mean, people would be going through like draft after draft after draft. But one thing that was for sure is that I think they came to this project having a few songs already lyriced or written, I guess I should say. That is a credit to lyricist Howard Ashman,
Yeah.
who didn't survive to see the end of this movie.
Yes. He passes away of AIDS. He was like a very beloved composer
Yeah.
and a lyricist.
He did The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast too.
And
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, and I think Howard Ashman comes to this project with some pre-written songs already kind of thought of. I think Howard.
He's kind of the one who like first pitches this.
Yeah.
And then like it kind of just like sits in the back burner until Musker and Clements have an interest in it.
Yeah, I think because Alan Menken, composer, and then after the passing of Howard Ashman, Tim Rice takes over for the rest of the lyrics. I'm trying to look up the exact songs that Howard Ashman had already had.
I think it was Proud of Your Boy was one, which didn't ultimately
make it.
into the movie.
'Cause
It
in
did
the-
make it into the Broadway show.
Right.
But
Because in the words of Jeffrey Katzenberg, in terms of Aladdin's mom in the movie, 86 on mom, she's a 0.
Yeah.
per Jeffrey Katzenberg's notes.
The 4 Ashman songs that make it in the movie are Arabian Nights, Friend Like Me, Prince Ali, And then he also wrote a song called "Humiliate the Boy."
Yeah.
That gets turned into Prince Ali
man.
reprise.
Well, there's a few things that end up on the cutting room floor. for this
"Humiliate
movie.
the Boy" is so good.
Terrible's name for a song.
It's
but-
like imagine you're
Yeah.
listening to the Aladdin soundtrack, and you're like, "Humiliate the Boy" is my jam.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song.
But so when this movie gets greenlit and they're talking about casting, right away, the role of the genie from both Ron Clements and John Musker immediately think like, well, this is clearly a role for Robin Williams. And reading the biography, I love the way Dave Itzkov kind of words this. He says like, like Disney at this point, like they tried to like hold themselves to a high enough esteem that like, even though they went through a slot period, it's like, we're still Disney. Like people have to audition for us. But they were very much told it's like, no. You're not going to make Robin Williams audition for the genie. You're going to audition for Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And so, and that was kind of how the casting process led. So like, they reached out to Robin's managers and, it was a classic kind of like back and forth between like if Robin wanted to do it or not. And I want to say that it was, I'm trying to find the animator, who I think it was, no, it wasn't.
While you look for that little fun story about the auditioning thing, they actually lost out on Beyonce for The Princess and the Frog because they wanted her to audition, and
Right.
Beyonce was like,
I will
Beyonce.
not be doing that.
But I'm trying to find out who the animator was. I'll find it at some point, but one of the animators essentially in terms of trying to like pitch this movie to Robin, what they did is they took recordings of Robin's stand-up routine.
Oh, I think it's Eric Goldberg.
I think it is
I
Eric
think he did
Goldberg.
the animation for Genie in the film.
Yeah. I think you're right. It is Eric Goldberg, who took Robin's stand-up routines and did like kind of a rough draft Genie animation to Robin's like stand-up comedy. And he sent it to Robin, and Robin found this very funny, but also very unique. Robin has already, as we mentioned already, that Robin is not a stranger to doing animation work at this time. That being said, I think it's fair and safe to say like those past projects Robin did, like A Wish for Wings at Work and Ferngully, The Last Rainforest, those were all kind of like Robin like dipping his like toe in the animation realm. Aladdin is the movie, as he'll go on to say, it's like, this was like me wanting to join a very treasured tradition of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And this is going to lead into the drama that a lot of people know about with Robin in the relationship with this movie. But because at this point, like Robin's already had his third child with his second wife, Marcia, Cody Williams. And so Robin, who's a father of three, and he's just come off of like, well, he's still on a huge hot streak. I mean, he's gotten 3 Oscar nominations at this point. One for Good Morning Vietnam, Dead Poets, and Fisher King. Couple Golden Globes sprinkled in there. He's in like high grossing movies that make a lot of money. And Robin's like the king of Hollywood at this point. And so, but that being said, he's also kind of joining back into the Hollywood framework, whereas before he was in like New York doing more small focus, like character centric movies. Now Robin's in like the Hollywood blockbuster era at this point. As we mentioned already, like the starting point of that was Hook, which a fun little fact of this movie, as Robin was filming Hook and Toys, he was doing rehearsals and he was doing recording sessions on Aladdin during those productions. So Robin's going through like back-to-back 3 different projects, and he signs on for this movie. So but when Robin signs on, and this will be like the important context, he tells Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and he tells all the big wigs like, hey, I don't know how big this movie is gonna be. I don't know like what level of success we're expecting to get from this, but I'm willing to work at a union scale rate, like the lowest minimum that you can work for. I think Robin at that point was his normal asking fee for a movie was like $8 million. And I think normal union scale rate at this point is like
75,000.
75,000. Thank you. So he does this for the union scale rate, but with a few conditions. Number one, he doesn't want to be on any more than 25% of like movie marketing. And that involves like posters, that involves commercials. And the other thing is he doesn't want to be like glamorized as like a toy productions. Essentially, Robin, and we've seen Robin do this move in the past where Robin takes on these projects more so in a sense that he just wants to support the project. And Robin kind of sees Aladdin because, yeah, we've said like The Little Mermaid came out and it made a lot of money, but it wasn't totally sure that Aladdin was going to be like a big hit at this point. Like Disney hasn't like landed like the second pattern that's like, okay, now they're like taking off. I mean, Little Mermaid,
like Beauty and the Beast had just come out and was a huge success. Gets nominated for an Oscar. But now they're making a movie set in the Middle East during the Gulf War. Which is the problem they're running into.
And so I think like Robin, at least at this point, understands like, listen, like this is a kid's movie. I'm making this partly for my kids. I want to be a part of this like animation tradition, but I don't want my name, face, and likeness just blasted all over everything. Like I don't want this to be marketed as the Robin Williams Genie movie. Well, I guess
that's how it's marketed.
Yes, which we will get to that.
We'll get to that in the post.
We'll get to that in the post text. So then a couple other things. They casted a few other folks.
They cast the rest of the movie. The only other actor of note in this movie is Gilbert Gottfried as Iago.
Yeah.
Who is cast like they hire Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio to rewrite the script a year before the movie comes out.
A notorious Jeffrey Katzenberg move.
Yes, because Jeffrey Katzenberg like watches the movie and says it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Rewrite it, redo the whole thing in a year.
Yeah, in a year.
And so Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio come in. They end up writing Pirates of the Caribbean later. Mm-hmm. But they're basically like, all right, we're gonna strengthen Jasmine's character, get rid of Aladdin's mom, like focus on the songs. Mm-hmm. And also, we're going to make this parrot funny because we want to cast Gilbert Gottfried in the role.
Yeah.
And because the parrot was originally like the serious one. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, no, we should just have him coming in.
I was waiting to see how long we would take before Jeff did his Gilbert Gottfried.
That was not great, kids. Also, don't be doing disrespect on my guy, Scott Winger, who is the voice of Aladdin. Anyone from the 90s and 80s will know he played Steve on Full House.
He is Steve on Full House.
Steve on Full House. So guy of note for us.
Scott Winger and a lot of the cast that would go on to not just do this first iteration of Aladdin, but they would do all the iterations of Aladdin.
You know what my favorite example of that is?
Yeah.
James Woods plays Hades in Hercules.
Yeah.
It's like the other instance of them casting like a well-known comedic star and letting them shape the character.
Yeah.
Those are like the two. It's like the Genie and Hades are like the two big examples.
Yeah.
James Woods known for just being like angry in movies, and like in spite of being a somewhat like notable actor, James Woods has done everything. Mm-hmm. He did the TV shows. He did He did like the television movies. He did the video games.
Yep.
He, as of 5 years ago, you can watch a video of James Woods doing press for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my God.
Where it's just like 70.
Because he loved Hades.
It's like 70-something-year-old James Woods, who is like a conservative firebrand now, and just like goes on Twitter and is like, "You woke liberal assholes," and he's just like sitting in front of this billboard of Kingdom Hearts 3 with like all these anime characters and Mickey Mouse on it. And he's just like, yeah, you know, I just really like playing Hades, and I'm glad the kids are really enjoying these games. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening here? But anyway,
will not be Robin's relationship.
Yeah,
to
they'll not be Robin
franchise.
Williams to this.
But a lot of the actors in this movie will have that relationship, like Scott Winger and a few other folks.
Also, even Jonathan Freeman, who does Jafar, played Jafar in the original Broadway production of Aladdin.
Yes.
We went to go see that.
Very good.
I went to go see that.
We did see it, and I was like, this is the original
like
Jafar.
Actually Jafar in the show.
Yes.
Because he is a Broadway actor, so it does make sense.
Make sense.
Yes. I think we're getting pretty close to just like the movie.
Yeah, I don't have much else. I mean, like, listen, like at this point in the podcast, a lot of the Robin context I'm going to say is he's hot.
Yeah, like he's doing really good.
He's doing really well, which feels great.
It does, doesn't it?
After the slop we've had to go through to get to an actor where we finally like we have like a decade's worth of like great good work.
Yeah.
I guess like just a quick little pause and like it's kind of an off subject but relation to the podcast that I think it's great to have Jill here for. That this Robin Williams, in terms of the actors we've covered, has had the longest hot streak of any actor we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And like we talk about John Travolta's like early period from like 76 to 80.
This is fantastic.
That's just fantastic. And then his comeback between Pulp Fiction was 94 to
the year after this.
to 2000 was like his second like heyday hit. So that's like individual 6-year moments that he's great. Brendan Fraser having his hot streak period from like The Mummy up until I don't know what movie it was that tipped him off the scale. Winona with her late 80s, early 90s work. But essentially what I'm getting at is like Robin and obviously there's lots of other actors that have, you know, they've had permanent hot streaks. Like they just don't miss. Like there are some actors that just don't miss. But I think in terms of like the subject and the thesis of our podcast, when we talk about arcs of actors' careers, I think it's worth noting on this episode the longevity of Robin Williams' ability to prolong his successful run.
Yeah, I mean, the Genie is still like a beloved character 33 years later.
Well, and even like movies that will come out afterwards. Like, it should be noted that like, I think, you know, I don't have us ending this era until like after What Dreams May Come and before Patch Adams. But how does Bicentennial Man fit into this?
But I feel like even when he was turning out not great films later on, he was still a beloved
and that's the thing. It's like
beloved actor.
This is the run I want to talk about, the run between this movie and the movie he will win an Oscar for. Because as I've said, like Robin's been nominated 3 times, but he doesn't win until
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, which comes out in 97. So it's 1992. So 5 more, it won't be for another 5 more years until he wins an Oscar. But let me just go over this one. So it is Aladdin, Toys, Mrs. Doubtfire.
I mean, we should probably talk about these movies when we get to them, right?
We will, but I'm just saying. The point that I'm trying to make here. Being Human, In Search of Dr. Seuss, 9 Months, Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, Jumanji, Birdcage, Jack, Aladdin, and King. Okay, maybe my point is actually not as like strong as I thought it would be.
He's naming a lot of great films, though.
Because
you didn't include Jack in the run.
Well,
these are movies that people still watch.
Jack and Aladdin, the King of Thieves.
You're like Jumanji, Birdcage, Jack, Aladdin, the King of Secret Agent, Hamlet. Just quickly.
I guess all I'm trying to say is it's like Robin obviously will be in this hot streak for a long period of time. But I think the gap between Aladdin and Good Will Hunting, we are going to see a few pieces of evidence of what's going to come after.
Well, I mean, every actor has
has that.
You make 4 movies a year, 3 of them suck, but one of them is good, and that's all that people talk about.
That's all that people talk about.
So, Jill, you obviously you were growing up around this time.
I was, yeah.
What was your perception of Robin Williams, or the Genie, I should say? What's your connection to this movie and his career?
Yeah, I'll be honest. As a little girl, I think Jasmine was kind of you just gravitate towards the princesses. She was a princess. I was Jasmine for Halloween one year, just like I think every other girl who loves princesses at some point in time. But no, I mean, I still remember our parents saying, I was a year old when this came out. So, I mean, obviously I did not see it in theaters, but I went to go see this because of Robin Williams being in the movie. No, I mean, it was just like, it was an iconic film growing up. Like, this was one of those movies that I watched over and over and over again as a kid growing up. I will say, I think as a child, I was more drawn to Jasmine, but.
Did it freeze?
I think it froze.
Uh-oh.
We pause it.
Okay. So, growing up, I think I was more drawn to Jasmine because I was a little girl. She was the princess. She had a pretty cool outfit, not a dress, but little top, the big balloon harem pants. But this was a movie I watched growing up like over and over and over again. Like it was just a favorite. I loved it, loved the songs. Um, I don't think as a kid I was as strong. It made me laugh. But as a kid, you love the pretty princess or you like the main characters. But I mean, he's like an iconic part of childhood. He's an
Figure.
iconic Disney figure. I am a proud Disney adult, and he is to me like one of the now like as an adult like the top 10 Disney characters.
Yeah, and
It's like the Genie. I was trying to Stinky Pete. I was just trying to think of like a really out.
I mean, I would say Mickey Mouse is probably number one on that list. Like you can't disrespect.
yeah,
Mickey Mouse is like he's fine.
But like
He
I would
looks
say
good,
Genie,
but-
hey, he like keeps the company going.
He does keep the company going. He's like
it's Mickey Mouse and then Robert Downey Jr. and then the Genie.
There you go.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Iron Man. I'm not saying Tony Stark. I'm just saying Robert Downey
Yes.
Jr.
Yeah.
is a Disney princess. He's made like in the course of his career with Disney, he's made $500 million. That's
oh, yes, he makes absurd money.
absurd, obscene amounts of money. One thing before we talk about the plot, just like a brief thing that I wanted to mention is like even rewatching this as an adult, like the movie does hold up.
No, this movie works really well.
Movie
It's
works
good.
really well. And something I wanted to mention is the animation style. This would be like, and they would experiment with this with Little Mermaid as well and Beauty and the Beast. But this is that style of animation where they use like 3D rendered backgrounds beneath like 2D sketched
Yeah,
character
this is one of the
images.
earlier experimentations with 3D animation.
Yeah.
Previously in The Great Mouse Detective, there's a whole like chase scene at the end that's a 3D animation through clock. It's actually a very impressive sequence. But this is the one where like the Cave of Wonders is 3D.
Cave of Wonders is the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, the carpet is CGI except for the tassels.
And I will say, like, adding to like it just growing up with it, Aladdin was like back then. This was the start of Disney, just kind of like things being everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
went to the store, there was Aladdin toys everywhere, Jasmine costume. You had like the lunch boxes. McDonald's had the Aladdin cups. Like,
I mean,
this
there's
it's
the part where
everywhere.
the genie's just like it's synergy, and like that's basically what they do. It's like-
Yeah. That is what Disney does really
they're,
well.
They're very good at corporate synergy.
Yeah.
If there's one final thing to talk about with this in the context before we just start going through the plot, it is the controversial nature of like the setting of this movie,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
like they ran into
Yes.
they ran into a lot of problems with like trying to make a movie set in the Middle East during the Gulf War.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of anti like Middle Eastern sentiment in the U.S.
Yeah.
which caused some problems for the production of this movie. They were unable to actually research the movie in the countries, so they went to the Saudi Arabian Expo at the Los Angeles Convention Center,
there you go.
which is maybe not the best source, right? And see if you can't go to the country, but it's probably the best you can get.
Because originally they wanted to set this in
It
real
was set
life
in Baghdad,
Baghdad.
and they hastily changed it to Agrabah, a fictional place, because American jets are attacking Baghdad at the time.
Yeah.
It's also just like be anywhere. Like
Yeah.
parts I'm like, this is India.
That's
Which
the,
is
I
not the
was
Middle
actually
East.
and so
Parts there's like this is Morocco or Egypt, or this is like it's just vaguely kind of that stretch from Morocco to India. Could be Agrabah, could be anywhere.
And that's the problem if like looking back culturally on this movie is that in this rewrite they changed the movie to be less Middle East. Like, they changed the main characters to look less Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
They restructure Aladdin to look like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And like but they leave the villains looking Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
It's like it's a very like icky thing. I don't think it necessarily takes away from the quality of the movie,
Yeah.
in a sense, but it is something worth noting is that they design Aladdin to look like Tom Cruise. The genie like vaguely has a, and him, Jasmine, the Sultan. They all have somewhat like American characteristics,
Yeah.
whereas Jafar and specifically the peddler and there's like the scumbum's name at the beginning.
The guard
Oh,
guy?
No, the-
Razim.
He's like, yes, I go into the cave for you. I forget what his name is.
Yeah.
But like they make them look very Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Whereas Aladdin is very clean cut.
Well,
Which actually I saw online that apparently Aladdin was originally going to be like 13
Yes.
and look like Michael J. Fox.
yeah.
And they were like,
And
he
they
looks
bumped it up.
simply too young. So it's
Yeah.
like, this is too.
Well, and I think like I don't want to get too deep into this, but you just brought up Jill, and I think it's important that like the architecture of Agrabah is like a little bit more Hinduistic,
Yeah.
but then the Sultan, who first off, like just the title Sultan, you have to kind of pause there. It's like, okay, but there's a Sultan, so we're talking about a different like culture there. And then they say like praise Allah multiple times in the movie. So like there is like a clash of cultures that are being blended sort of.
Yeah.
I'd almost even say the word carelessly, if only because like if you try to put up the front of like, well, we did do research of this movie,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, but
There's a difference between like Moana, which blends together different Polynesian cultures because they
Yes.
would make their own Polynesian island. And this, which is just like, we're going to be part India and part Morocco and part Iran.
Yeah. Like,
Three places with very distinct cultures that are not
like
not really similar.
I think Musker and Clements have a good reputation for like doing a lot of research of the cultures they're setting these movies in.
yeah,
They do have that reputation. I think because they also do Moana and Princess and the Frog. I think as they enter the new millennia, in addition to just like researching the culture and then using it for what your purpose is, they do lean more into in those films. We will reach the culture and portray it correctly.
yeah,
Yes.
Whereas this is like just we did a lot of research into all these
well,
Middle
we
Eastern
did
countries.
a lot, air quotes,
Yeah.
by going
Went to the Saudi Arabian
We went to the
Expo.
Saudi Arabian Expo,
The LA
but like we
Convention
did
Center.
research and then we put it in a
the Taj Mahal online.
and then we put it in a blender and made our own culture.
yeah,
There's a very difference between that and like what Jill was saying with Moana, which is a movie that's casts Polynesian actors in it,
Yeah.
which this movie does not.
right,
And is like a big point.
yeah.
Not to like linger on it too much.
No, yeah, but I
But
think
it's worth bringing up.
I think it's worth bringing that up before we got into the plot, just so we're stating that right off the bat. That being said, do we want to get into Arabian Nights, the plot, the beginning of this movie?
Oh, I thought you meant the book.
Oh,
you
no.
were, you just
No,
said like,
I don't
do we
like
want to get
Yeah,
into
I was
Arabian
like,
Nights?
I
I'm
mean,
like,
this is
no.
we're gonna be
What, you
here
want to
a
talk about the other
while
one?
before
Fausto?
discussing that
not-
book.
Like,
Do
we
not.
we have to talk about this one, and then we also talk about the 40 Thieves. That
Right.
leaves 999 Arabian Nights for
Oh
us
my
to still go
God.
through.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get to the plot of this movie.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think we can dive right in.
Yeah, let's just dive right in. We get the first Robin Williams iteration of this
Yes,
movie.
because he plays two characters.
Yes, he does. The first character being this guy's a street merchant.
Yes, he's a peddler. I think he is just credited as
Which Rob-
peddler.
Sing Arabian Nights.
Yes, a different guy.
Different person.
Bruce
but he
Adler
those
does the song.
Yes.
Because the opening of the movie is like it's the peddlers riding a camel across the dunes of Arabia to Agrabah.
Yes.
And he's singing Arabian Nights, which is a great song.
It is a great song.
Goes
It's
crazy.
one of my favorites.
They
yeah.
had to change the lyrics after the movie came out
Yes, they did.
Yes.
because there was a lyric that said where the
It's where they cut your ear off, but hey, that's home, or
Yeah.
it's barbaric. Like,
it's the
I think
right.
I think it's they'll chop off your head. It's okay because you're dead.
something
that
to
goes
th-
crazy.
something to
I
that
actually say that's
degree.
cool.
But essentially, it would just got, and that
Little-
there was a
little too
version
far.
of that got like released, and then they changed it. But yeah, it was it's the stereotype thing about
Yeah.
the cultural stereotyping. But yes, the peddler, he's kind of giving this overarching narration. This is the scene that you've mentioned a few times, Jeff, where like there are moments where like and this is like in the book as well, where like when they bring Robin Williams in for recordings, they start off doing like the first like few takes as written. But then after they feel like they've gotten what they needed, then they just do another series of takes of just letting Robin riff.
Because like if you're gonna cast Robin in this role, like
You're gonna let
he
him
is
riff.
a comic improviser, stream of consciousness guy.
Yeah.
you should just like you have to let him do it.
Yeah. This scene was they just gave him a table of stuff
Yes.
and we're like, talk about the stuff.
Yeah. and it's funny. It's good.
Stuff, I should say.
Like if like for other comedians, like you think about this and like they'd be like, serious right now? Like you're just gonna give me a table and just want me to like do things?
But that's
like,
Robin, yeah.
It's like that's specifically Robin's bit. They give him a table and he's like, Dead Sea Tupperware. And he like
So good.
hookah and coffee maker. Like,
And one thing I really love about this that Disney I don't think has ever really done, maybe in The Emperor's New Groove, but no other movies, is you as kind of being a person with the
Yes.
merchant, because you're looking at him and then the camera starts to slowly pan away of you kind of being like, no thanks, I'm not buying anything off
Yeah.
this schmuck on the street. And then panning back to him and then panning away, like kind of being a person in the market.
yeah, because they
Okay.
even do the
Which
like,
was
come
cool.
closer, too close, it's too close, and then pull back.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little like a break in the fourth wall there, which I really enjoyed. They really haven't done films, but
The miracle of this movie is how like it gets away with being so unbelievable. Like there's a Jack Nicholson impression.
Yeah.
Like there's laser battles that occur in the third Aladdin. And it's just like it somehow manages to do all of that while still grounding you in this like Agrabah set story. It's like it's a very fine balancing act that really it's the most impressive thing about the movie to me
Yeah.
is that it manages to sustain the Robin Williams of it all without collapsing the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we are in the desert with Jafar and what did you say his name was? Razim or whatever this guy was? Some hired dude.
Gazim, his name is
Gazim.
Gazim.
And I wanted to say about Jafar, he is a top tier Disney villain.
Oh.
And they don't make one thought I have is that they don't make Disney villains like this nowadays, where you just see him and you're like, this guy's bad news.
Yeah, the
That's
like
no good.
first and foremost, Jafar, kind of a snack.
Kind of a zaddy.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about the like Disney in the 90s was like the villains would be villainous.
Yeah.
They wouldn't really be redeemable. And they would also like kind of have this weird like psychosexual tension to them.
I don't know about like Ursula.
Well, Ursula.
Ursula, I think
she
is
has the
very-
body
That's
language.
true. Well, no, she does exhibit sexual. Actually, yeah, she does exhibit sexual tension.
Like,
I will say that, but
Jafar has like he's like trying to creep on Jasmine. He's trying to get in there.
I thought you meant he looked attractive.
No, he kind of does. Is the
That's what I was like. I don't know about that.
but like even like Scar, like Scar, like it kind of has this whole like
Kind of a hot lion there.
like they weren't. It's kind of this like interesting thing they were doing with the villains.
I had a coworker who his big gripe with the live action Aladdin was that they made Jafar hot, and he was like, hot. He should be creepy.
The problem with the live action Aladdin is that the guy they plastic Jafar has no riz.
He has no
Jafar
riz.
has so much riz. Like I'm sorry to say, but
Jeff, why are you
like-
saying Riz?
he does.
But like nowadays, the Disney villains are like, I love family trauma. It's like, and like, it's a great movie, but like, oh man, I miss the campy costumes and like
Yeah.
cruising up like Maleficent. She because she wasn't invited to the
He
christening.
was invited to the party.
Come on, like, can you get more evil than that?
Like the new Disney villains, like you said, it's like they're all, with the exception of Wish, which like the problem with Wish is that it sucks. But like all the villains are just like, I just wasn't loved as a child. They even did like a Lion King prequel where they're like, the thing about Scar is that he just wasn't loved as a child. I mean, like, I don't care.
Did you see Mufasa?
Mark Tilly and I did go to see Mufasa the Lion King in a weird triple feature with the Bob Dylan movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
But yeah, no, and it's also, or now it's like in Zootopia, it's a little sheep that you're like, I didn't expect her.
Yeah.
Or Frozen, you're like, it's Prince Hans. I didn't
Yeah.
expect that. But like, I do miss the days where it was just like, this person cruises up on screen. You look at them and you're like,
You're the
That's
villain.
you're the villain. They are up to no good, but they're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of the best like Onion articles ever written is one that was just called "We regret to inform you that it is Jafar." And then you click on the article, and the text of the article is just, "We have some unfortunate news. It is Jafar, and we apologize." Despite our best efforts, we have no choice but to tell you that it is Jafar. When it is Jafar, it is a long man who needs a lamp. It is Jafar at the moment. To reiterate, we are very sorry about this. It's just like them apologizing for the existence of Jafar for like multiple pages. It's one of the best articles they've ever written.
That's good. Very, very good.
But anyway, Jafar, looking like a snack, is atop his camel. He's riding a camel too, or is he riding a horse?
I think he's just standing.
I thought he's just standing on the
walk
sand.
out there.
It seems like they seem to reiterate that this Cave of Wonders is not that far away.
The Cave of Wonders it's not like a super far distance.
Yeah,
I think they walk because they walk later.
Yeah.
So I think they just walk there.
The Cave of Wonders is like, so you leave Agrabah, heading west 2,000 paces, make a right, 1,000 paces, you'll find the Cave of Wonders.
There you go.
No, because they got to connect the two, like the scarab thing, and it flies to the Cave of Wonders. And they follow it.
Yes. Oh, they're on horses.
Yeah, they are on horses because they ride the horses.
They ride the horses to there.
Right. Okay.
The score, this movie wins the Academy Award for Best Original Score, which is often forgotten about because people just think about the songs.
Yeah.
But the score to this movie is quite good.
The score is really good.
It's like dun, 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 dun. And then the Cave of Wonders comes up. Ooh, disturbs my slumber.
And it says, Simba, come home.
That's like
Many years before The Lion King would actually be released.
it is Mufasa-esque.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Definitely.
Because it's a giant sand head, a lion head.
Disturbs my
lion, tiger head. I think it might be a tiger.
Yeah. And they're saying,
Find the diamond in the rough.
I don't know if you heard that.
I did hear that. Yes.
Okay. But Jafar sends Gazim in.
Yes.
And he says, you can have all the treasure you want. I
Get
just
me the lamp.
want the lamp. And as soon as you step in, he snacks on him.
Yeah,
Munch.
it just
It's
eats, it eats Gazim.
Yeah, which, to be fair, I'm like, did Jafar do any research on finding a diamond in the rough, or did he just pick up some random dude and was like,
This guy's good.
Seemingly, this is the first time he's tried it because Gazim has the other half of the scarab.
Yeah.
And then the second time he's like, all right, now I have the next clue.
I got to find a good person.
It's like the end of the Last Crusade when the Nazis just keep sending the guys into the word of God or the breath of God or whatever it's called.
It's the penitent man.
The penitent man. They keep sending them in and they're like, well, eventually one of them will make it. And then we'll
one of them's going to be penitent. One of them's going to work
I know
out.
that because I just recently did a whole Indiana Jones rewatch, all 5 of them.
Very good.
That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
1 and 3 are excellent.
1 and 3 are excellent.
Indy.
4
pretty
starts off pretty good, but then it falls off the rails, and I think Karen Allen might actually be bad in that movie. But in Indiana Jones 5, notably a not great movie, I think Karen Allen is
great.
amazing
She's
in
great.
the last 5 minutes of that movie.
Yes. We're not talking about Indiana Jones, even though this movie is loosely based on Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's
loosely.
an adventure movie.
But he find the diamond in the rough, and Jafar's like, okay.
I
shall
find
do that.
a good person.
It does
And
a
we
hard
get
cut to
what's the bird's name?
Iago.
Iago. Sorry.
Where did you find this bozo?
Like I was not much of a Disney adult. I mean, Lion King was my jam when I was a kid, but anyway. Iago is like, Jafar, we have to find a diamond in the rough.
Iago
And I do love how he still does that
Squawk!
Yeah, he still makes squawking sounds.
I am sick of this.
One more mold-crusted cracker.
Iago's the best.
Iago's good.
We
He
love
is the
Iago.
best. I audibly laughed at a few of his lines.
By the time you get to the third movie, and Iago is just like hanging out with the group,
Dude. Well, we'll
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that later, but yeah. Iago's just one of the good guys.
he's just hanging out.
Well, it makes sense. It's like you're an animator. You're like, I can't like ditch Iago.
Everybody likes Iago.
Everybody likes Iago.
Great. I remember having a Iago puppet when I was little.
I remember that puppet. It's by the time you get to like they're doing the enchanted tiki room with new management by Iago and Zazu in the Disney theme parks, where it's like Gilbert Gottfried's screaming at children like, "Shut up, the birds are saying," and you're like, "What is happening?" You good?
There was, I will say, there was
careful
this
with your
really
clamp.
part years ago of this boy who was on the spectrum and nonverbal, and Yago was his favorite character, and like he had a Yago puppet, I think, and he like talked through the puppet. And it was actually a really like heartwarming story. And he Godfried, and like it was a very touching, warm story about how much Yago meant to this.
He could only speak through the Yago puppet, and specifically Gilbert Gottfried's retelling of the aristocrats joke.
I don't think he did the voice. I think he just like he like found his voice. It was very
I just
sweet.
thought of the most sickening, depraved joke.
I was saying to Stuart earlier.
Show us on the doll where he touched you. Ah, he touched right. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
I was saying to Stuart earlier, like I went to Gilbert Gottfried's Wikipedia, who passed away a few years ago. Yeah. And I went to his Wikipedia and I scrolled down, and he has a controversy section, as a lot of people do. And like you expect, when you see controversy, there's things you expect. And the things you don't expect are that the top hyperlink of it is, see also humor based on the September 11th attacks. It's like the hyperlink on his controversies.
Excellent.
Oh, fun.
Because he was the first comedian to make jokes about 9/11 3 weeks after it happened at a Friars Club roast of Hugh Hefner.
Before it was cool.
Said he was late because he intended to catch a plane but couldn't get a direct flight because they had to stop at the Empire State Building first.
Oh my god! But like, that's not even funny.
Hugh Hefner of all things.
Anyway, but so we cut from Jafar to Aladdin right away.
Yes,
the diamond in the rough, and then it just cuts to he's running away with a loaf of bread. Very, smart economical storytelling. He has the bread. He goes, all this for a loaf of bread. And then you see the guard chasing him. You don't have to get into why he's getting chased. He's just getting chased because he stole bread.
This is the Street Rat song.
Yes. Yeah. One jump ahead of the law, man. Scoundrel. Take that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's running through Agrabah with his loaf of bread.
Yeah.
We meet Abu, who's his little monkey friend.
Oh, Abu.
I'm anti-Abu.
Fuck y'all.
like Abu is nothing but trouble in this movie.
No, he does cause a lot of.
But it's so cute.
He's a little cute,
Cute
but
little monkey that talks, because he talks a little bit.
There's a lot of good sidekicks in this movie, by the way. Everyone has a sidekick. Jafar's got Yago. Aladdin has Abu. Jasmine has Raja.
I guess they do all have sidekicks.
They do.
A lot of merchandising opportunities. There's
Sultan's,
a bird, a tiger.
Like what kid did not want a pet tiger?
True.
Honestly, true.
Just look at that and you're like,
although
man.
I saw the live action Jungle Book before I saw this movie, I did not want a pet tiger after watching that.
Yeah. Well, this one, Raja looks very docile.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know how to describe like he sings a song as he evades the guards.
He sings a song as he evades the guards, and then
and you see everyone knows Aladdin. Like they're like, oh, he's a little troublemaker.
Yeah, and he splits the loaf of bread.
The resident like miscreant.
Yeah, but he hands one to Abu. Like he divides the bread in half, and gives one half to a monkey that's so much smaller than him.
Yeah.
Like portions, dude. Come on.
But like Jill, to say to your point earlier about this being very Broadway inspired, like this does do a really nice job just being like a big opening number. And it just introduces it introduces Aladdin, introduces all of his, quirks, his lifestyle.
A purpose in this.
Yes. The sequence is very good at just establishing the visual language of the movie and also just Aladdin's world.
Yeah.
You get to know, like, everybody knows him. The guards are always after him. He doesn't have any money. He's trying to steal bread.
Yeah.
He also doesn't have a shirt.
Yes. But also, it's just a very dynamic song. This movie is very visually dynamic. It's always jumping around. And he doesn't have a shirt.
Ever.
Only shirtless Disney character.
Yeah.
We meet my favorite character in the movie, who is Razul, the captain of the guards, who I just deeply enjoy his presence in this movie.
I will say there must be low crime in Agrabah if all these guards can spend all this time chasing one guy.
Yeah, seemingly Aladdin is the only criminal.
These are the palace guards. Like, shouldn't they be protecting the Sultan and Jasmine? But no, they're chasing this guy who stole a piece of bread. I just like that this guy's like kind of this like annoyed bureaucratic guard who's like constantly running around doing everything in the town. He's a good guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But Aladdin escapes. Like you said, Stuart, he divides the bread. Then he sees some like poor children digging in the trash, and he gives them his bread. It's very nice.
Well, he gives the boy his bread. He gives them his bread, and Abu like begrudgingly gives them his bread
Yeah.
because it's very sweet. Because the little girl, of course, gives her brother, splits that half of bread into another.
A quarter.
He's a good guy, Aladdin.
Yeah, he cares about the orphans.
Yeah.
Because he was an orphan.
Yeah.
As we don't learn because they cut out the song. Yeah, sings about his parents.
And yeah, essentially, and then this is just him like looking at the palace and be like, one day, Abu.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just
it would be. He has this little I want like street rat. I don't.
Like kind of like I want
that.
something more than this.
Only they look closer. I'm not a good singer.
part of your world. Sorry.
Relax. But no, it's his I Want song.
Yeah.
In similar
Want
energy to Part of Your World.
Mm-hmm.
Sings
Saying
about,
there's more to me than just this little street rat who's always stealing stuff.
he just wants to be seen for being like who he is.
Yeah.
Instead of who people perceive him to be.
A good guy.
Because he also gets insulted by a prince.
Yes.
Yes.
What's that guy's name? Prince Ahmed,
Mm-hmm.
who's coming to try and marry Jasmine.
Yes. This is where we get that plot.
Yes. Because after, Aladdin sings a little song, we cut into the palace where we meet Princess Jasmine, the daughter of the Sultan, who is seeming like 16. The Sultan is like in his 60s.
Yeah, they don't say Jasmine, but
I think she's supposed to be like, I read somewhere that the animators were like, she's 19, guys. She's 19. That's why Jafar hitting on her is not weird.
Yeah, they were going to make it before his 16th birthday, but then they were just like, you have to get married before your next birthday.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. They make it her 19th birthday, so she's explicitly already 18. So that they don't run into it being
they
weird.
probably like realized that was creepy with Ariel being 16. And we're like, maybe we should not do that again.
They realize their issues with, isn't Snow White like 13?
Oh, yeah, Snow
Isn't that
White's
like,
Yeah.
but I didn't see the new Snow White movie, but it is to my understanding that movie makes her like a hero of the realm or something. Yeah, which is like, I'm sick of heroes of the realm.
Heroes of the realm.
I'm so sick of heroes of the realm. Like, not everybody needs to be a hero of the realm.
No.
You can definitely change Snow White. You can change that story.
Yeah.
But they already did Snow White is the hero of the realm. It's called like Snow White and the Huntsman.
I know. But you know what? Goal of maybe making Disney pause these live action remakes.
Yes.
Which, so Rachel Zegler has been the hero of the realm in that sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler is a great actress, and it's a shame that she's getting thrown in all
It
this
is such
slop.
a shame.
She's so good in West
She
Side
would-
Story.
I would say she's great in Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes.
She's good in Ballad of Songbirds and
She's
Snakes.
really
a
good.
movie that I was surprised is
that was a
pretty
good
good.
It was
That's
really good.
Sunrise on the Reaping, man. Let's see. I'm also dating like a Suzanne Collins head. So
Yeah.
She just
I like
finished.
that instead of saying Hunger Games head, you said Suzanne Collins.
No, it's Suzanne Collins.
Has
head.
she written other things?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I do respect
Jeff,
her for
you've
like,
seen our bookshelf.
Yes, you have all 5 of the Hunger Games books.
Well, I'm saying it's like, how am I supposed to know? As she's written other things, like there's like a mountain of books on our bookshelves. She might have,
Suzanne Collins. I'm hitting it up with a ye old Google.
but also like, does she need to? Because even if she hasn't
No.
written anything other than Hunger Games,
like, yeah, she's able to make new stories that feel fresh.
Yeah.
Off of.
She wrote some series called The Underland Chronicles.
Oh,
Called Gregor and the Code of Claw. Look at this thing. It's like a kid hanging out with a rat. This looks great.
Chronicles is the thing that I'm a little tired of. I'm tired of things being like Chronicles.
Unless Riddick is involved.
Unless Riddick is involved. Very important distinction.
Dude, you know his full. You know what his
we
full
go.
name is, right?
Richard B. Riddick, which means it's Dick B. Riddick.
Yes. Jill, I know we never watched the Riddick movies.
Are we going there?
Have you ever seen any of the Riddick movies?
no, I have not. But now I feel like I need to watch
The thing
them.
about the Riddick movies is that like
Okay.
it's Vin Diesel's passion project, and like people are like, well, he loves Fast and Furious, and it becomes increasingly clear that he does Fast and Furious to get them to give him money to make another Riddick movie, which comes out and flops. There have been 4 of them. They have consecutively. Well, the 4th one is still coming out.
Okay, I was
they
gonna
filmed
say.
it, but like.
You know what? I mad respect for
It's
that.
like every 10 years though, he's like, I'm making another Riddick and it's going to change the world. It comes out, makes like $10, flops, and then he makes 4
You know
more
what?
Fast and Furious
I
movies.
respect that. It's like Adam Sandler. He just gets money to hang out with his friends. And if you were able to do that, and you're giving people jobs, like,
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm not going to go any more
Good
into
for you.
Riddick, but I did want to bring it up.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So Jasmine has to get married before her next birthday. It's not really explained what the punishment is if she doesn't.
The realm goes into chaos.
Like what?
I
Like
think
what?
I think there's just not like an heir to the throne, maybe.
Because like then she's seemingly the only child the Sultan has.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes to like a cousin or something.
Because like it's not gonna it won't pass until the Sultan dies. Mm-hmm. So like if she just doesn't get married by her 19th birthday, like what happens?
Well, and the Sultan
they
says,
make up
like,
a fake rule.
The Sultan says, like, I just want to make sure that you're taken care of because I won't be here forever. Like, it's almost presented less about the throne and more about, like, I just want you to have a man to take care of you.
Yes.
Is kind of the way it's sort of thrown out there.
And
One thing I do want to that always confused me about this scene is it starts with Prince Ahmed's hole in his pants, and in classic animated fashion you see the red and the white underwear, with
polka
the
dot
red
underwear,
hearts on it. But then you see that same fabric in Raja's mouth.
Yes.
which would
and
imply
I'm
that
like,
he ripped
how-
the underwear.
Yeah, how did he? He should have the color of his pants in his mouth.
Yeah, not the underwear.
This movie is unfair.
Otherwise, we should have seen his bare ass. When he
Yeah,
walks
that's what I'm
away.
saying.
Disney released the ass cut.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Much like cats release the butthole cut.
right. That always confused. Why is he wearing? Why does he have that in his mouth? Did he tear the underwear somewhere else? Like,
They got some
was he wearing
explaining
two
to
pairs
do.
of underwear? I don't know what was going
Yeah,
on.
maybe he like ripped through the pants and the underwear. He didn't have a second pair of pants, but he has like I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It works. It's funny.
It's funny. It works. It's just one thing. Even as a kid, I noticed that. I was like, why? It
However,
doesn't-
I will be calling up Disney Animated Studios and demanding answers. I will be storming their lobby,
Yeah.
Very good.
Michael Moore style, trying to get answers.
Very good.
But Jasmine wants a taste of real life, and so she sneaks out of the palace.
Yeah.
She goes into Agrabah, where
Still
she
wearing those massive solid gold earrings.
yeah, it's like kind of a low key disguise. She just throws like a rag on over top.
I kind of like this interpretation that like her disguise is so bad that like when she steps out of the palace, like everybody knows she's the princess,
Yeah.
but just kind of like she does this from time to time. I play
Yeah.
along, guys. Like pretend you're talking to a commoner. And-
Yeah.
Except for the stupid guards.
Yes.
They're the only ones that don't know it's actually the princess.
and that apple, the apple vendor. Because
And
Jasmine
yes.
just like stupidly goes up and is like, "Oh, there's a starving child. Let me just take an apple from this cart and feed them," because she's never had to pay for anything in her life.
I think it's even funnier if like he knows she's the princess, but she's done this shit before.
Yeah. He's like sick of this.
He's like, I am sick of this shit. Like,
He's like,
you're-
"I know you have the money to pay for this."
yes, I know you have the money, and like your royal privilege isn't going to get you out of this one.
That-
Okay,
that are more than money than I will ever see in my life.
your earrings could buy my cart.
Yes.
Okay, set me up for life. But yeah, she
Aladdin
steals an
rescues
apple.
her
Yes,
from the situation, and the two of them immediately have chemistry.
he asks her to play dumb. It's like
Yes.
she has. She thinks she's the princess, and
No, she
or no, she
She
thinks.
thinks the monkey's the sultan.
Yeah, that's what it is.
and she's like, "Hello, doctor," to a camel. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
yeah.
Play with it, but then of course, to your point, Abu ruins everything. He's shoved like 50 apples in his shirt.
It's a cute little guy.
And
And yeah, then another chase ensues, and they get away. And yeah, they basically just they have pretty good chemistry.
Yeah.
She's talking about like it's not revealed that she's a princess until after Aladdin gets arrested.
Yes. Well, it's because we cut back to Jafar, who has like a contraption in his basement.
Yes, he takes the ring using the hypnotist snake device, which is a metaphor for what's going on in our country right now.
Yeah. This is Stephen Miller. No,
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No.
Don't cancel me.
Stephen Miller
Don't
using the
support
snake
me.
thing on Donald Trump. I don't know.
But this does is Jafar, does he have any magical abilities?
It's like unclear.
He's like, I think he does, because I think he's like kind of like an alchemist type.
That makes sense. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
He does become a sorcerer later.
Yes, I think because he
But he
like
does have some magical kind of, he's got the snake.
he's got like the vial that's like the smoke bomb disappearance device. Like he dabbles in magic a little bit.
He has a lair too.
Yeah, and he has a lair. Don't you bring lairs back?
That's what I mean. They don't have the great villains with the lairs. and the
Scars Be Prepared or Hades Underworld or Hades
Maleficent's got like
under.
a castle in the thorns. Like, come on. I'm talking about the original Maleficent too. not
Yes, but even like I also like. Would you say that the tower in Tangled is the mother's lair?
Oh, it's a tough one.
That's a trigger spot for some people, I imagine.
That's a tough one because it is a lair, but Rapunzel has never taken it.
Jill, are you a Tangled head?
I do like Tangled.
I feel like, well, how much do you like it? Like modestly, or like is it the best Disney movie of all time?
I would say it's a little above modestly, but not the best Disney movie that's ever.
Every person I've encountered who loves Tangled are crazy about Tangled more than Frozen. And
Yeah, there's like in the Disney, I feel like there's people who are like Tangled's better than Frozen. And I'm
yes, I've seen that.
but-
I've seen that
yeah.
like a lot. But like when people who love Tangled. Something about that movie. I don't know what it is.
And it is a good movie.
It's a
but-
great. It's a good movie. It just
And it was kind of like a return, like this model of Disney making. Like Disney hadn't really turned out many movies like this in a while.
yeah.
They were in a little bit of a slump period with Home on the Range and whatnot.
Yeah, like it was kind of like I remember there was like a period of time where it was just kind of like, the movies were like fine.
Home on the Range. Is that
Came out
the?
and I was like, this
cow?
is really
That's the cow one. That comes out of the period where Michael Eisner in his final act in office. It's like the president signing executive orders in like the 11th hour of their presidency. Michael Eisner's just like, kids love teddy bears, make a bear movie, and then they make Brother Bear as a result of this.
It's a good movie.
Looping back to Jafar, I do have a
He steals the ring from.
no,
the
I have a
Sultan.
classic tweet.
Oh, good.
That I must read. I'm excited to introduce my new personal advisor and confidant, a huge fucking weirdo named Wormtongue. Plus, he looks like complete shit. Please trust him with any secrets of the kingdom you may have. And I think about that with Jafar, where it's like these guys just like hire absolute
They hire the
freaks.
weirdest fucking advisors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How did Jafar get this job? He probably hypnotize his way into the job.
I'm a great judge of character. The
Yeah,
Sultan
he's like
says.
advising. Well, it's clear he's like not really that much of a sorcerer. He like has like a little staff.
Well, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
That he's a dabbling into alchemy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's experimenting with it, guys. All right, he's not totally sure if he wants to fully.
He's doing what he can with the abilities and acts like what he has access to.
Yeah,
Seemingly the spell to discover the diamond in the rough is to literally take a diamond and put it in a thing of sand and then like zap it with electricity.
yes,
That seemingly works because it gives him an illusion of Aladdin. He's like, the diamond in the rough.
Yago makes the comments like, Your Excellency, of course we could do, but don't you think we could just wait for a real storm? I'm like, are you guys forgetting you live in a fucking desert?
Yes.
I know,
When is
there's
it
no
gonna
rain
rain?
coming your way.
Anyway,
It's not like the Lion King where the rain comes at the end.
yeah,
Yeah. There's no rain coming their way.
no, not
So-
for a while.
He finds out who the diamond in the rough is. He's like, send the guards to arrest this child. And then they're able to just like find Aladdin's home.
Yeah, supposedly they knew where he was the whole time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. On side note, if they're chasing him in the streets all the time, how do they like?
I think-
I'm
why
guessing
have they
Jafar,
never
like,
arrested him
sees
earlier?
it.
If they know where he lives.
Maybe it's like the level of importance to arrest him goes up because Jafar puts out the warrant for arrest.
yeah.
It's also
so I'm
possible
like, you
Jafar,
know
like-
where this guy you're constantly chasing lives. Like, I would think you just go to his house and immediately arrest him, and you're like, problem solved. Never have to chase
you
this
go.
guy for bread again.
in his like ball, maybe he's like, he's at this building. Go to this building.
These are the latitudes and longitudes of where you'll find him and Jasmine.
I would like a movie about like the bureaucracy of Agrabah and like all the middle managers and the guards. Oh my God, Jafar, the crazy. He wants us to go and
Yago, you got to keep spinning the dial so
we're-
we could trace the call.
We're so behind on quotas right now, and now we have to go deal with this Aladdin kid. Like,
Gotta steal this random guy. He probably though. I think they make up a lie that he like stole Jasmine.
yeah. Yeah.
I just like envisioning like the bureaucracies of these fictional worlds and like the things they have to contend with. Like I think about like in like the concept of the empire where it's like, oh my God, I'm so behind in all my quotes and getting all these supply trains back, and now a crazy wizard has come and he is demanding to commandeer my ship to go kill his son. Like that's like basically the structure.
Did you ever see the guy? He's on like TikTok and Instagram, and he like a safety coordinator, but for all these like fantasy things. So
Yeah.
he like is inspecting Moria, like the mines
Yeah.
of Moria. It's great. He's in
Like-
like the chocolate factory.
Like it's that orc in the Two Towers who Saruman's like, light the dam, or light the furnace, build a dam, and he's like, we don't have enough fuel to fuel the fires. He's like, we're behind an orc Urukai. He's like, we're
I
behind
love that man.
We're behind
Yeah.
an Urukai production, Mr. Saruman. How do we do it? And he's like, well, cut down the forest, and then we'll create additional wood, and that'll increase Urukai production. And the orc's like, yeah. So, like, I just like that. There's
Hey, you know what?
he's a
Yeah,
middle
great.
manager. Like
Middle manager, Saruman's a great boss. He's like, I recognize there is a problem, and I'm going to come up with solutions.
like who in Agrabah is the one in charge of like actual the structure of the city? Because all the
think
salt
Jafar.
is like, does Jafar, like, does he have to, in between, conniving to become a genie, have to go to like a meeting and be like, yeah, so as we know, the new aqueduct that we're building, we have to it's
Well, you know what? It appears that they're not doing a great job because people are starving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Jafar's
there's no
clearly
money
not good at his job, but what he is
around the city.
good at is finding Aladdin, because he gets him arrested and thrown
Very
into
good.
jail.
Very good segue. Yeah, and Jasmine's like, unhand him
Yeah.
by order of the princess.
Yes.
And Razul is just like, my orders come from Jafar. You'll have to take it up with him. Like, does she have
Which
to
I'm
file
like,
a
also,
formal
I think-
grievance?
Yeah, and I'm also like, I think the princess goes over Jafar, but
Apparently not.
apparently not. Because she's a woman.
Because she goes back to Jafar and she's like, hey, can you release this guy Aladdin? Jafar's like, oh, I cut his head off. Sorry.
Oops.
It happened
Should I
really
have-
quick.
Should I have like waited before I did that?
And she's like, no, and she runs away.
No. She also goes, when I am Sultan, the first thing I'll do is get rid of you.
The arrest to beheading pipeline so fast.
Well,
I
they
know.
don't actually do it. So,
Well,
like,
no, I'm saying, but if that was believable, then
Yeah.
I'd assume that meant that you could arrest and behead someone within a day.
yes.
Man, due process.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Doesn't exist in the world of Aladdin.
Agrabah.
In Agrabah. But yes, Aladdin's in jail. And then, like, of course, a creepy old man is
Hello there.
just like, I can get you out if you come with me to the Cave of Wonders. And Aladdin's like, okay.
Okay. Sounds good, Chief.
And I do love that Yago is the hump on his back.
Yes.
Yes.
That is good.
Oh, and he's sweating. He's like, Jafar, if I could just like, no, shut up.
I love that.
And they have a
poor
secret
Yago.
passageway to get him out of
Yes.
the prison cell.
But this guy's just kind of been hanging out in here.
Yeah. And they go to the Cave of Wonders.
We go to the Cave of Wonders.
The lion looks up and opens its mouth wide.
Aladdin is able to get in without a problem.
Yeah.
And he
But he's
goes,
told to touch nothing.
yes, touch nothing but the lamp.
Yeah. Everything else
It
is
a
forbidden.
cave of temptation.
Yes.
And so he goes into the cave, he and Abu. First mistake, bringing Abu.
Yeah. You don't bring a monkey into the Cave
You
of
leave
Wonders.
Abu outside. But they go into the cave.
There's all
They
this
see all this
gold,
treasure.
all the treasure.
They meet the carpet.
Yes.
He's a
I
good
love the
guy.
carpet. Which the carpet is kind of like Genie's sidekick.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
carpet kind of is like a genie sidekick.
Everyone's got a
Some
sidekick in
sidekicks.
this movie.
But they meet the carpet, who just kind of like hangs out with them. Mm-hmm. He's a good guy,
He's a great carpet.
good with kids.
Yes.
10 out of 10 would
Yeah,
book
Aladdin's just
that
like,
flight
hey,
again.
look, a magic carpet.
And the
then
carpet
the-
stays with
Yeah,
them.
the carpet just
Not
Is
falls.
the
phased
carpet
at all.
trapped under something and they free it? Is that why the carpet's
Yeah,
so
that's
nice?
right. It's under something, and Aladdin like helps it get out. I think.
And then the carpet's like, I sold my soul to you.
Yes.
I am yours forever now.
But they go along, and eventually they come to the room,
Yeah.
the cave.
The stairs.
Yeah, there's
Which,
like,
hold on, side note. I guess the carpet's not considered part of the treasure because he's allowed to touch it.
yeah, I think the carpet just got like stuck down there for some reason.
Maybe like
Probably,
an adventurer who had the flying carpet thousands of years ago went into the Cave of Wonders, but then that guy got sucked in and
it's unclear.
it's unclear.
Yeah.
But the carpet comes with them. They come to the room, and Alan's like, Abu, stay here. I am going to go get the lamp from up there. Abu's like, you got it, Chief.
You got it, Chief.
Also, Aladdin like jumps across the rocks, goes up the stairs, and they do the Indiana Jones shot where he sees like the lamp on the pedestal.
It's lit by some mystical spotlight.
It's lit by the spotlight.
Yes.
yeah.
And he does the whole. He doesn't do the dirt pickup like Indiana Jones, but they do match the exact same choreography of him taking the lamp. It's clear what they're trying to evoke.
Yeah.
While meanwhile, Abu sees a crystal being held by a crazy gorilla statue and really wants it. and the carpet is like trying to pull him back. He grabs the crystal, and the cave starts collapsing.
You touch the treasure.
Infidel! I like that he yells infidel.
Oh yeah, he does yell,
Infidel.
and the cave starts to collapse.
But anyway, he gets the lamp. The carpet rescues him from the lava that is now pouring in.
Yeah, the lava came out of nowhere.
The whole cave is like sinking down and collapsing.
Yeah.
And so they fly around. This is a really cool animation sequence.
Yes.
It is.
This is where they really dial up the 3D rendered background to 11 at this point. Because you have these like 360, 180 shots rotating around.
Yeah.
Them like flying through all the tunnels and the lava and stuff. It's really cool.
It's great. It's like it's just like, it's a new way of doing animation that at this point is still like experimental.
Yeah.
And so in this experimental stage, they're inclined to, go crazy with it and really use it for something you just couldn't do before.
Yeah.
Some cool, like they're using it for Mulan and the Huns coming down the mountain, and Hunchback of Notre Dame with like crowds of people.
Yeah,
Like they're using it for some cool stuff.
Like in modern day, like most animation just is CG. And like it's kind of lost some of the luster because like you just use it for everything now. Or if you don't use it, it's very easy to apply now. Back in this day, like you had to target what you were going to use it for. And that was usually just like something you couldn't accomplish with hand-drawn animation.
Yeah.
It wasn't the replacement. It was like an expansion upon.
Yeah.
And so this whole sequence, like the carpet or Aladdin's obviously still hand-drawn cell animation, but put atop of this CG image, it just gives you a look you just haven't seen before. And you really don't see again in a movie of this scale.
But they reach all the way to the literal mouth of the cave.
Throw me the idol. And
Throw me idol, I throw you whip.
Yeah. He's like, I'd throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip, except it's give me the lamp and I'll pull you up.
It's like I've seemed to miss a step here because if you pull me up, you're pulling the lamp up with me, buddy.
Yeah. I have always wondered, like, how does Aladdin get the lamp? And I clocked during the animation. Like, he gives Jafar the lamp. Jafar puts it in, like, his right pocket.
Yeah.
And then when Jafar pulls Aladdin up with the knife, Aladdin's left hand is in Jafar's.
No, but Aladdin doesn't steal the lamp.
Abu does.
Abu does.
Yeah.
I thought it was Aladdin.
No, because Abu like jumps on
Okay.
Jafar and is like great, like because he like sticks with the knife and then Abu jumps on him, and that because it's Abu who then pulls out the lamp.
Okay.
Because Aladdin's like, wait, we're stuck down here, and so gee, Jeffrey serve a purpose.
Yeah, Abu steals the
Save
lamp.
Aladdin's life here.
And then Aladdin falls with Abu, and the carpet catches them, but then they fall to the floor of the Cave of Wonders.
Yes.
They're stuck.
And I think it's very smart for this movie to delay the genie for this long. Because it's about like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very wise because something we tackled on the show is that once you put Robin Williams in your movie in a large capacity,
Changes the tone.
he changes the tone of the movie and he kind of overwhelms the movie.
Yeah.
Like it is now going to be like a Robin Williams vehicle.
Yeah.
And so it's wise to let every plot essentially get to a certain degree of, structure.
Yeah.
So that you can throw this wild card into the mix.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's like, the lamp, I got to read it. And he rubs the lamp and then, 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Just goes off.
Yes, he goes crazy. It's like, the bits do not stop flying for, I think, 20 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, you're basically just watching a Robin Williams stand-up set.
Yeah. That's animated.
Great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
He sings Friend Like Me, which is like one of the best sequences of animation.
Yeah.
Just because it, much like Robin, the thing he brings to this is this freedom to be who he is. Mm-hmm. He also brings the animation a certain degree of freedom to just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have, like the animators don't have to uphold like basic structures anymore. They can be like, all right, he can stretch like this and do something that doesn't, fit with the physicality of him. But then there can be 6 of him and 20 elephants and camels galore. And like, they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I feel like this must have been such a challenge to animate, but so
Oh, I bet
so
the animators are
rewarding.
like sweating.
But it's
I'm sure they were
really,
sweating, but also like having a good time.
because like as an animator, you do have to think about things like, okay, well, what's Aladdin's like physical characteristics? He's not flubber. He's not like, Mickey Mouse, who can like kind of stretch and you can do weird things with Mickey.
Yeah.
Like Aladdin has to uphold the laws of physics to a degree. The Genie does not. And I'm sure that's so rewarding.
Yeah.
When it can just be like, yeah, we can just like do whatever we want in this.
Yeah, and I think Ben picked his favorite bits too.
Yeah.
Like he just listened to the audio and I was like, that's going to be really fun to animate. I'm going to do that.
Because Howard Ashman writes the song, obviously. And they just kind of stick to it. And just like anything that he says in the song, they just visualize.
Yeah.
I like when the hands are singing.
Yeah, and they let him kind of do the voices, like when he's talking about like the menu, he starts to do a slight French accent.
Yeah, and I'm your mate of
They're able
D.
to sitting in a restaurant. It's great.
It's just such a it's like the best shit ever. Friend Like Me, and then like you just go right from that into like
applause,
back into Robin doing bits.
Yeah,
he's like, there's a few rules, stipulations, addendum. First off,
well, there's clearly a script here, but he's still putting his own flair on it.
technically there's 4 rules.
There's 4 rules.
Because one of the first one he says is, so he says there's 3 rules, but there's clearly an unspoken 4th rule where you can't wish for more wishes.
X down the wishing for more wishes, and then says there are 3 rules.
Yes.
Technically 4 rules.
Technically 4.
The rules are can't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
So
like,
don't ask.
Yeah, so don't ask.
then
I can't make anyone fall in love with you.
You little stinker.
And
You
then
can't bring anyone back from the dead.
I can't bring anyone back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it. I like that it seems like the rules are actually can't wish for more wishes, can't kill people, can't make people fall in love. And then it's just like, I really don't like bringing people back from the dead. I have done it before.
And it sort of implies, like, if he says, it's not a pretty picture, I don't like doing it. I can spend an hour talking about that sentence because what that really implies
is he's done it before.
Is that
He's done it, and he just would prefer not to do it.
Yeah, it's like
so he's made it his own rule.
But then if that applies to the 3rd rule, does that apply to all the rules?
Yeah.
Like maybe maybe all 3 of these rules are really just like his own preference. It's not that I don't have the power to kill somebody. I don't have the power to bend free will. And it's not that I don't have the power to bring people back. It's like all of the 3 of those things I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Or maybe there are only 3 rules, and one of them is wishes, but specifically bringing back the dead. He's like, I'm just going to make that my own rule. And
Yeah,
slip that in.
I'm not going to
I
tell
don't
people
have to
that's
do that.
actually a real rule, though.
Yeah.
But Aladdin clearly wants to wish to get out of the cave, but he plays the genie like a fiddle.
Yeah. He's like, man, like all
powerful, can't bring people back from the dead. You probably can't even get us out of this cave.
And he says, oh shit, wrong voice changer.
was crazy.
Shit. He's like,
Phenomenal also power.
Bitty space.
there you go. Sorry.
Very good.
I had to do that.
Very good.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good line. Yeah, you got into that one.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm gonna show you how to get out of here. You're taking your wishes. Sit down.
He's like, you're gonna get your wishes.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone will have all your arms, feet, and
puts
hands
them all on the
inside
carpet,
the vehicle at all times.
blows a hole in the
All
roof,
time.
and they fly out.
And then they leave the Cave of Wonders.
They go to an oasis. Genie's like, you got 2 wishes left. And one's like, I never wish to get out of that cave. Well, I feel sheepish.
All right, you bad man.
And it's just like Robin is coming up with things that like probably you just couldn't think about in the writing.
Yeah.
No.
Like the idea of him saying, I feel sheepish, and then going into a sheep voice and doing bad boy. Like, you don't write
No one
that.
else would have thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just him just like standing there and just being like, I feel sheep, bad boy. Like,
Yeah.
he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
And them just giving him the free will to like, yeah, so the genie does transcend time and space. So like he can pull from the past or the future.
Yeah.
And he's like, like Walter Cronkite is there. Like Jack Nicholson shows up.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, Stuart.
All right, laddie. So what you gonna do with the girl?
What you gonna do with the girl?
We get a Sebastian cameo.
Yeah, he pulls out. He turns into Sebastian.
He can even transcend universes.
Yes. Yes. Imagine like people talk about like the Pixar timeline. What they don't talk about is the Disney animation timeline where the genie just goes through every single movie.
Yes.
Yeah. We got Pinocchio in there.
Yeah. But then He's like, all right, well then what do you want? And he's like, so there's this girl. He's like, oh, I'm going to stop you right there, pal. And it's like, I can't make anybody follow. It's like, yo, but Genie. And then we get the classic age-old sentence of any early romance movie, TV show, novel. It's like, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's fun.
I'm looking up. I found a list of Disney, list of Genie impressions.
Oh boy.
Robert De Niro, Walter Brennan, Bob Hoskins, Senor Wences, Al Roker, Adrian Cronauer, Jerry Lewis. These are from the TV show.
Right, I think he does do an Adrian Cronauer impression in the movie, though.
Yeah, he definitely does. In Aladdin the King of Thieves, he does Shaquille O'Neal, Chico Marx.
Right.
Jack Nicholson, Ed Sullivan, Rodney Dangerfield, William F. Buckley Jr., Peter Lorre. It's just like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to a rug.
And oh my god, dude, that is the best line ever. It's like, golly, I'm losing to a rug.
You know, he does the Rodney Dangerfield.
It's so good.
Don't get no respect at all.
And and Aladdin's like, yeah, but she would never go for a guy like me. Like, she's a princess. She's got to marry a prince. And
he asks the genie, "What would you wish for?" And the genie tells him how he would wish to be free.
Yeah,
he's trapped by the lamp.
Yeah. He says, like, all my masters, they never wish for me to be free at the end of the 3 wishes. Yeah. So then I'm kind of stuck here. Like, I was like, well, I'll wish for you to be free. Yeah. And he signs on it, puts it in ink.
Yeah.
And yeah.
His first,
the diamond in the rough.
His first wish is to become a prince. Mm-hmm. Which leads us right into the next song. Because right away, Jafar is trying to change the law of the land.
Yes.
And be like, if Jasmine's not married by 1950, she will marry the royal vizier. That's me. And the song's like, but you're so old. She will marry me. And then the Sultan hears music in the distance and he kind of runs away.
Right. Well, and before that, like, then when Aladdin does wish to be a prince, and he's like, all right. And so immediately they do like a fashion little changing room area. And he's like, all right, so first off, we're going to, what we got there? Like the baggy pants. What are you doing here? And then zing, bingo. Yeah. And he gets him in his like prince outfit. He's like, but that's not all. And like, because every good prince needs a good steed. And then he points to Abu. And Abu first turns into a camel. It's like, we got a great, premium candle. Careful, they do spit. I was like, I don't know. This isn't really working for me. So then he changes Abu into a horse. And he's like, I don't know. It needs to be bigger. He's like, oh, I got it. And then he like contorts Abu and then turns him into a big giant elephant. So now Abu is an elephant.
Yes.
And then there's like
Prince Ali.
A wide cutaway of them in the oasis and fireworks going off like he's doing all these mystical powers, turning
Genie seemingly summons hundreds of souls.
Yes.
He makes quite a powerful
well, I think again, like, he transcends
coterie.
space and time, so like he can inhabit all of these like homunculi creations that he's making. Yeah. And he does that too in the Prince Ali thing. Like, he sort of passes off from one consciousness to the other. Yeah.
It's like the agents in the Matrix. It's like absorbing.
Right. And then that's where we get
he can duplicate himself.
Yeah, and he changes to a humanoid like leopard at some point.
Yes.
Do you guys pick up on this?
Hunchback guys with shorts.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to bring up is like, Friend Like Me is like great.
It's awesome.
I do think maybe Prince Ali is the best song in the movie.
I agree. I think
this is the big musical number of the movie to me. Like, this is what should be, because it's supposed to be this grand procession of this prince coming down the street to impress the princess. And my judge of any adaptation of Aladdin is Prince Ali, because it needs to be big, and the live action does a big Prince Ali.
It
and I'm
does.
like, that's to do.
I mean, just like the beat of it too. It's like dun, 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 dun.
This is like if this was on Broadway, this song would end and the curtain would come down.
See,
and
my biggest gripe with the Broadway production is this was not it wasn't as big as it should have been. They made Friend Like Me big. And I'm like, you got it. Like, this has to be the fireworks. This has to be like being carried by people. I mean, I can't do an elephant in a Broadway production, but
I mean, the lyrics are like, he's got 75 golden camels, purple peacocks, he's got 53. When it comes to exotic type mammals, has he got a zoo? I'm telling you, it's a world-class menagerie.
There is
Get them all out there.
There is one small problematic line in this song, though.
Yes.
Where they say like he's got like servants and slaves, but they all love to serve him.
Yeah, he's got slaves, he's got servants
Yeah.
and flunkies proud to work for him.
Yeah, that's like I heard that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Maybe just servants.
Maybe just servants and employees.
60 elephants, llamas galore, with his bears and lions, a brass band and more, with his 40 fakers, his cooks, his bakers, his birds that warble on key. Make way for Prince Ali.
It's a great song.
It's a great song. What a good scene. Robin
excellent
crushing it.
Oh my God. Is he, I never, is he doing all of his own singing in
Yes,
this?
he does all of his own singing.
Fucking hell.
And that scene when he pretends to be like a Macy's Day correspondent.
Yes.
Yes.
And it cuts to June and Harry. Like,
Yeah.
It's quite nice out here, June. I really like it.
Like you have to, like he definitely is following the lyrics of
Yeah.
the song.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't improvise the song.
no.
Yeah.
But I
But he
do
has still managed to find an way he can improvise.
Yeah, like he's got 75 golden camels. Don't they look lovely, June? Purple peacocks. He's got 50. Like that's the lyrics, and then he's still fabulous, Harry. I love the feathers.
And then they actually cut to a balloon of a monkey.
Yeah,
Macy's Day Parade style.
when it comes to exotic type mammals, as he got a zoo. I'm telling you, Jill, didn't you love that monkey?
I was just
balloon
gonna say
you were
when
a kid?
I was little, apparently when I was little, I laughed every time when he did that bit with the Macy's Day, and then they cut to the big balloon of the monkey.
It's a classic.
Like we're talking like little, like couldn't really speak.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
Or just learning to speak. Apparently that was like always made me laugh.
But it's so good. I mean, and I agree. Like the 2019 Aladdin version, like that is a song to put in your car and just like whip it out.
Just like the
to.
Will Smith of
Yeah.
it all.
It's so like especially when like they do the Prince and they hold it out for a really
Yeah.
long time. It's
And
like
I also
it's
love in the
coming.
live action when they just show it's like a pile of rice or it's like a sand thing, and you just see it bouncing.
Yes.
Beat is coming.
Oh
And
man.
you can tell this like massive procession of people and drums are coming down the street.
I do think maybe the best joke of Prince Ali is at the end when like the music's really ramping and it just cuts to Jafar pushing like
Yes, he's pushing them
70 guys and an elephant out of the room by himself.
Yeah, it's like a giant bird cage.
He's like,
pushing out.
no more.
No
Yeah,
more.
Come on. It's a great
I
joke.
do love that scene. Yeah, where it just cuts to him pushing the bird cage out of the door. Like, nope.
Very good.
It's the best joke. And then obviously Prince Ali is in the room and he's like, I have come to marry your daughter. And Jasmine's like, okay.
Well, they all get in an argument, and Jafar's like, "Well, Your Highness, I thought we agreed that I would be the one to marry the princess, and also like this guy can't just like come in on a freaking parade and." And he's like, "Oh, this is great timing. I think you'll get along very soon." And then Jasmine's like, "Yo,
Yeah. I
I'm
have
right
Not
here.
surprised to be one.
Yeah, I am not a prize to be won."
She's not charmed by the pomp and circumstance. She runs away.
Yeah,
And Aladdin has to actually try and charm her.
woo her.
Yes.
Because this thing has brought about is, kind of these princesses who stand up for themselves a little more. They take ownership over their lives. They're not just,
I will marry the prince who shall come and kiss me in
not like Snow White being
where
like,
I am
"Oh, this
hanging
guy
out
woke
with
me
the
up."
little freaks in the woods.
Yeah.
Dwarves.
Yeah, they're a little more autonomous.
Yeah, a little bit more, but
Yeah, we're making progress.
yeah.
They think for themselves.
But Aladdin's move here is to use the carpet to fly up onto her balcony
Smooth.
and just walk in. And she's like, how did you get out there? Like,
And the genie is this bee
Yeah.
that's like kind of flying around, giving him notes. He's like,
Yeah.
Jasmine, you're so. And he's like, great, beautiful, funny, punctual. Sorry, my bad.
Bad advice.
And then she's like, Jasmine sort of flips the script. It's like, well, I have actually been looking for kind of a nice prince, but like the genie kind of knows what's happening. It's like, be warning,
Yeah.
warning. And he's like, and that's why he's like, no, torpedo.
yeah.
No.
Mayday.
Mayday, we're going down. When she kind of like just pushes him away.
Yeah.
And then
he-
his move is to jump off the
to
balcony.
feign suicide.
Yeah,
She doesn't love
because she's
him.
like, I just jump off of this balcony, like in a joking manner,
Yeah.
but like, and he's like, all right, fine, and he like falls off. She's like, what the heck? And And then she,
Jokes down, he's splattered on the ground.
Yeah.
It's very sad. No, but he's on the carpet.
yeah.
Which is not phased by the carpet. No one is phased by a magic carpet. In
Nah.
And so she just gets on the carpet with him.
It should be noted that, like, again, we're talking a movie that came out like almost like 30 years ago, and we're talking about a plot point that I think everybody knows about. But like, that Aladdin's move here is to not give it away to Jasmine that he's Aladdin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's that moment where, like, when they're running from the authorities early in the movie, he asks for her hand, like, "Do you trust me? Do you trust me?" Then we got to jump. And then in the carpet, when he like inviting her to come on for a ride, he's like, "Do you trust me?" And that's like Jasmine's first like, "Oh, wait a minute."
I know this guy.
Take you. Come with me if you want to leave.
And then we get I Can Show You the World.
One of the best Disney songs.
Still like holds up as like, I grew up in choir, and I feel like if I had a nickel for every time like a young couple and a guy was going to ask a girl to prom and he wanted a cool way to do it in choir, they were going to sing "I Can Show You the World," and he would like ask her to go to prom at the end of it.
I heard somewhere this is like one of the top wedding songs for like a first dance. It's a great song. It's beautiful.
It's very romantic. It's very sweet. You get swept up in it.
Yeah.
And Stuart, this is a good time for me to bring.
Are we going there? Are we going to this? Okay.
No, we're going to. So
I'm excited for you to hear about this.
I forgot that I did this.
Yeah.
But when I watched this movie like 3 years ago, and during this, I Can Show You the World, they're flying around, and Aladdin is just showing Jasmine the world, quite literally.
Yeah.
And they fly from Agrabah to the Giza pyramids, then to the Parthenon in Greece, and then eventually end in Imperial China, which I am assuming is the Imperial City. So they truly fly around the world, and it's beautiful and it's sweeping and it looks incredible. It's like one of those scenes where you're just like, this is the power of animation, is like that it can give you something so beautiful here.
I guess.
But then I was like, how fast is the carpet going?
I was just going to say, you looked up how fast it would be.
No, so I looked up how far. I used Jordan as Agrabah because obviously Agrabah is not a real place. But it's where they shot the live action movie. So that's what I used. The total air distance from this trip from Jordan to Giza to the Parthenon to the Imperial City is 10,136.03 miles. Assuming this took the entire length of the night, which you can even out to 12 hours. Let's say they were flying for 12 hours. It would require their magic carpet to be flying at 846.67 miles per hour continuously without stops. But they stop at several of these places, which if you account for like the pullovers taking a decent bit of time, the magic carpet must be traveling at minimum 1,000 miles per hour to accomplish the entire journey in one night. Like it's flying at Mach 1 at minimum. In order to accomplish flying from all these places in one night.
Well, with like the underwear on the prince, we're not going to think about
like
that.
Like the carpet it's flying at twice the speed of a intercontinental airliner.
Also
not going in direct lines.
Yeah, like it's possibly going faster than that.
The time frame, though, of which they are, like from wherever the time period they are traveling to these places, there's a few problems. Because first off, if when the Sultan says like praise Allah, that means this is an Islamic culture, which means it had to have happened after the 5th century. So we're talking like at minimum like 5th, 6th, or maybe 7th century. Egypt was under Byzantine Empire rule at that time.
Yes.
They were not building the pyramids or the Sphinx.
The Sphinx had been built 2,500 years prior.
Yes. And Greece would have also been under either Eastern or Western.
Well, Greece, you never see people. So the Parthenon's just there.
You just see the Parthenon.
The Parthenon's just there.
All right, they are fine. They are safe. China, I don't know what was happening in China in the 5th or 6th century. That could be.
Yeah, they don't really have a temple, which I would believe that's still there. And there's a dragon.
It's one of my favorite things about like animations when they like reference different cultures and there's like always a cut to that said culture, but it's never of the same like time frame or time period whatsoever.
So maybe the carpet can also transcend time and space.
Because there was a crossover between the Aladdin animated show and the Hercules animated show, which just opens even more questions.
Oh my goodness. No.
No.
Greek polytheism happening at the same time as Abrahamic Islam. Like what?
It's very funny. But they eventually
Furious now that you mentioned
they wind up in Imperial.
So
yeah, I know, right? They wind up in Imperial China watching a dragon dancer.
You can't keep going away with this. Sorry.
And then
I'm sorry.
Fireworks.
Yes.
And they're watching fireworks, and there's a dragon dancer, and Aladdin,
His head,
Genie, his head thing falls off.
Yeah.
And Jasmine's like, "I knew you were the boy from the market." And he's like,
my
Oh, no,
name's
she
Aladdin.
tricks him because she mentions Abu.
"Oh yes," and he's like,
She's like, I bet
Abu.
Abu is having a good time.
And he's like, "Yes, I sometimes pretend to be a boy in the market," and she buys it.
She does buy it, hook, line, and sinker.
She doesn't seem like wild about it, but she's like, okay.
But now they actually like each other.
He takes her back to the balcony. There's an amazing carpet move. The carpet comes in super clutch at this moment.
Does.
Carpet's like, let me just give you a little bit of boost there, buddy. And then they kiss. And it's a good kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They smooch.
Aladdin does
It's
the best.
beautiful.
I mean, the carpet just allows so many fun like visuals.
The carpet and the genie are like the weapon, the secret weapons. in the
Yeah,
movie.
because like when he like just like falls back off the balcony and the carpet catches him, that's such a good like visual moment.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's just floating down like
Yeah.
he's
And
in
even the
heaven.
whole song of Whole New World, like them just like the clouds
Yeah.
and around them, like it's beautiful.
What do you hang on to when you're on the carpet?
Nothing.
I was actually thinking that there's
God.
like I don't know how they're staying upright.
Because
on
this is just like a regular, like if we think about those, like like a 6th or 7th century, like sort of kind of stitched together carpet. Like, what's the friction amount that could like by just your like clothing and skin holding on to just the friction alone because there's no handlebars or seatbelts on this.
there. Yeah,
thing.
there's a few times where you do see the carpet kind of front a little to make
to make
bar,
like
and
a
they
sled
do, like,
thing.
hold on to it. Yeah, like
yeah.
there's a few times of that, but
And you're going
when they're
at-
climbing high.
And they're
I'm
climbing
like, how are
high
they
and they're going Mach 1 speed.
Yeah.
At least. But yeah, then he floats down and he's back. Assuming they're camping underneath the palace is what they make it, because they don't have a room in the palace.
Yes. So they're camping under the palace for reasons. And this is when Jafar puts his evil plan in play.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, I feel like they did get a space at the palace because like they're invited to stay to woo the princess. So like
He does have a room, and that's where the lamp gets stolen. But it's just weird that like multiple scenes happen in this like weird
like little
Yeah.
guarded area.
maybe he's used to the streets. He does that home doesn't make him feel comfortable.
Yeah,
He's like, I'd rather camp in the woods.
because Jafar hires the guards, like pays off the guards to like kill the prince. Wild political move there.
The
This guy
guards-
could be like an important prince for their country, and this is an act of war you're inciting. But whatever.
Jafar, the guards capture Aladdin and they throw him into the ocean.
Hey, I'm losing to a rug.
Yeah. Where he accidentally rubs the lamp with his hands.
Well, first we have to acknowledge like there's that quick scene with him and the genie, and basically he's saying like, I think there's no, this is not the scene where he tells the genie, I can't wish you free. That's after. But this is the scene where he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna like keep up this lie to Jasmine. And he's like, tell her the truth.
Yeah.
He's like, but I can't.
Aladdin has no self-confidence.
No self-confidence in himself. He's just a street rat.
He only sees himself by his adornments as the prince. But then the guards throw him in the ocean
Throw him in the ocean.
with a rock tied to his feet.
Yes, Bill Turner style.
Yes. Bootstrap Bill.
Bootstrap.
Yeah, bootstrap Bill.
But he tries to rub the lamp, which was with him, but he can't. And he falls and dies. No, he
I just-
rubs the lamp with his hands.
Imagine like
Yeah.
if like the genie comes out and he's like, oh my gosh, Al, like you can't cheat your way out of this
Yeah.
one. I need you to wish me to save you, okay? And then he's like, come on, kid, wish me to save you. And like Aladdin does like a head nod, like yes, but he's just like unconscious, like I'll take that as a yes, and then frees him. Imagine if the genie is like, I need you to say the words.
I need you to verbalize
and
it.
he just doesn't say it.
Verbalize.
So he just drowns in
just
front of the
lets him
genie.
die.
He lets him die. And the genie's stuck at the bottom of the ocean
for all eternity.
with a rotting corpse.
Yeah, with the rotting corpse of Aladdin. But no, I do like that the genie, like Aladdin is clearly like has seconds left to live. And rather than just like move him out of there, the genie does a bit of turning into a submarine and starts speaking like a German SS boat officer, like U-boat. He's like, Nacht und Toten, ein schnell, mach schnell. Like just grabs Aladdin, like, gets him out.
They burst up.
Like it feels like
It's very good.
Gets him out. And they just go back to the palace, and Jafar's like, Prince Ali is gone. And Aladdin was like, damn straight, I'm not.
He's like, bitch, no.
Throw me in the ocean.
And then he's like, your vizier tried to have me killed. And then, and this is where like, Jasmine is like singing a whole new world, humming it to herself. And then we see the Sultan like, Jasmine, I found for you a husband. Oh, great father. I know it will be Prince Ali. It's like, no, it will be Jafar. And then the door opens and Jafar is there hypnotizing him.
The thing about Jafar.
The funniest cartoon bit.
The thing about Jafar. Jafar thinks he's hot. That's like the key to his character.
He's camping.
Kind of a snack.
Like Jafar thinks he's like, she's lucking out with me. Yeah, she's really like, that's such a Jafar thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean she doesn't like me? But Aladdin comes in and is like, Jafar tried to kill me. He's been controlling you with the staff, and he breaks the staff.
Yeah.
And Jafar does
Sultan's like,
the classic move.
This isn't the end for you.
Creating the smoke cloud and disappearing into the walls.
Just like, find him, search everywhere.
Yeah. But we're good. And we're like, well, clearly we're good. No problem.
No, but hold on. You got to mention Jafar sees the lamp.
Jafar does see the
He
lamp.
does see the lamp. That's a very important
And he's
bit.
like, oh, this is all making a lot of sense now. Thought this kid looked familiar.
Gilbert Gottfried at this point, it's like, we're cooked.
We're done.
He's backing up.
to being a Beverly Hills cop.
And
But Jafar realizes what's going on, and he's concocting a plan.
Because at this point, we're just basically going to glide past the end of the movie. There's like no more, aside from Jafar's little number.
Yeah.
There's like not many like breaks. It's basically just like the structure just becomes like Aladdin and the genie have their little confrontation where the genie's like, yeah, you got one list left, so you're going to wish for me to be free because everything's good. And Aladdin's like, if I'm going to be the Sultan, I might need you around. I might need to break that wish at some point.
yeah. And so then he says like,
Heartbreaking.
well, it's like, it's a wonder why, it's like, I knew you were lying to everybody else. And now you finish it up with lying to me.
And he's like,
Yeah.
I felt a little left out. Stu,
And then Jafar gets him.
have you ever seen the movie 3,000 Years of Longing?
No.
It is a George Miller movie he made in between the two most recent Mad Maxes. It is about Idris Elba as a genie who is awoken by Tilda Swinton in her apartment during COVID. And the genie just tells her about his 3,000 years of just being a genie wandering the earth and serving various masters. And it is the best genies. It is so good. It's worth watching.
3,000 years of longing.
3,000 Years of Longing. But I think about that in the scene where the genie's like, I'm just going to go back into my lamp
Yep.
and sit there for 1,000 years.
For another master.
Until someone else finds me.
Yep.
And then they're going to awaken me and do more wishes, and I get to keep watching the cycle.
Yep.
But he goes in the lamp and he does a little pout. Iago
This does
steals
serve
the
a
lamp.
plot device, though. For
It
future.
does. It is good for that last wish to just be hanging out. But Iago comes and steals the lamp, and then we don't cut away to see what happens next because we're just with Aladdin and Jasmine hanging out, and then like shit starts going crazy.
Yeah. It's like, well, they're preparing for their wedding or something, or preparing for their engagement.
I think, they're going to
announcement.
announce they're going to announce that Jasmine has selected
Yes. But
a suitor.
before they do, the earth shakes.
Yeah.
Drums in the deep.
But no, so this is like kind of a sketchy wish that Jafar gets away with because he wishes to be Sultan,
Yeah.
but somehow the genie becomes massive and picks up the castle and moves it onto a mountain.
know what that has to do with being
What's
a
his wish?
sultan.
I wish to be Sultan of Agrabah on that mountain.
Well, he says, I wish to be Sultan of Agrabah on high.
Yes.
And it's like, there's that murky
On
word
high.
on high. What does that
so
mean?
the genie's just like, all right, I'll move the
Picks up the palace
high.
and puts it on a mountain.
Yes.
And that's where we get, I think, like, one of the best like villain songs.
Yeah.
Because it's it's the fact that he's singing a variant of Prince Ali.
Yes.
Yes.
That
Now
makes it
Prince,
so like.
Well, first he wishes to
evil.
become a sorcerer, the most powerful sorcerer in the world.
Well, yeah, because his clothes changed to becoming the Sultan.
Well, they don't change. He's still
Right. It's somehow like fitted to fit him. But this is a little something that a little irks me a little bit because he wishes to be Sultan, and then the Sultan's clothes disappears and reappears on Jafar's body, and he's now Sultan. And I guess like I don't know if like if the actual Sultan, do we get a name? Do we get a name of the Sultan?
We don't get a name of the Sultan. He's just the
Jasmine's
Sultan.
dad at this point. I'm just going to refer to him as Jasmine's dad because he's not the freaking Sultan anymore. That election was
he's
lost.
the Sultan
okay?
in our hearts.
a sultan of the people. But if he was like, I challenge that you're the Sultan. Like, how can you just like take my throne? And then the genie's like, yeah, so actually with what he wished for, there's some documents here. Like if you see the electoral count over here in this district, that's why he got the popular vote and all the like, he just like walked him through like all the documentation to prove that Jafar was the Sultan. He's like, it's been through some court appeals and stuff. Like you could appeal if you want, but
50,000 votes in Georgia.
yeah, 50,000 votes in Georgia were just tossed.
Yeah.
And so then Jasmine's like, you can't get away with this. It's like, oh, but I can. Genie, for my second wish. And that's where he's like, I wish to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world. And then like his clothes change back.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the point?
Yeah. What was the point of the Sultan outfit?
Yeah, what was the
He's
point?
like, I don't like this color on me.
And is he now still the Sultan?
I would like to be clear. The color does not work well on him.
No, it
he
doesn't.
He doesn't look good in the white robes.
No, he does
he
not at all.
doesn't.
It's like black and red is a very good look for him.
It is, yeah.
He's slaying in it,
Yes, like,
as the kids say.
and now he is a powerful sorcerer.
Yes.
And he, as
Sings
he's,
his whole song.
he sings,
But
his
also,
whole,
the Sultan does not get his clothes back.
no, he doesn't.
We don't know where those clothes go.
So just running around fully nude.
Jasmine's dad, so then, yeah, he's singing like the variant of Prince Ali, and this is where he's revealing to everybody, Jasmine and Jasmine's dad, that Prince Ali is actually Aladdin. He changes his clothes back to looking like, a street rat version and
Yeah.
a boot.
Oh, and when he says, say hello to your precious Prince Ali. It's a great
or
line.
should I say Aladdin?
Yes.
And then it turns Abu back into a monkey. He then telekinesis them into one of the towers. And then the best
Makes it fire
freaking
off like a
shot
rocket.
of the whole movie is when like on like the high note of the song, he like does a golf swing and like the tower shoots up in the air. Prince Ali.
And the thing flies away.
Maniacal laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great laugh, like a great villain laugh.
Yeah. it's a good, it's because then all we see is like him like overshadow Jasmine and Jasmine's dad and as he's laughing.
Because Aladdin survives. He's about to roll off the cliff. Thankfully, the carpet's there.
The carpet's always there. Hey, if you're ever in a bind,
Get a magic carpet.
get a magic carpet.
And so he hops on the carpet and they fly back to Agrabah.
Yeah.
He's the bad penny who just keeps turning up.
Yep.
Every time Jafar tries to get rid of him, it's like Jack Sparrow coming back into the Aztec cave.
Yeah.
And impossible. It's the same energy. Jafar's like, how many times do I have to kill you?
Yeah. And so the genie at this point, he's just a kind of a subservient slave to Jafar. And then,
Yago's shoving crackers in the Japanese
yes,
head, which is
which,
great.
you know what? Good for Yago.
Go off, Yago.
Go off, Yago.
Go off, Yago.
A new outfit on.
Yes.
She is in like slave Leia attire.
Yeah, I was just gonna say her slave Leia outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is essentially the same thing she has been wearing, but now her hair is in a high ponytail.
And,
Yes.
and it's red.
And it's red. It's scandalous.
Somehow looks more scandalous than the same outfit.
the exact same outfit.
Yeah. Aladdin
whatever.
is like sneaking in, trying to get to the lamp to use his last wish on Jafar, supposedly. But then Jafar, in like the creepiest manner, is like, "Oh, Genie, I know what I want for my last and final wish.
I want
yeah.
Jasmine to
I
love me.
wish for Jasmine to fall madly in love
And then
with
Genie
me.
says, well, there's a few stipulations.
Quid pro quo.
And
But at
before
this moment, Jasmine's. Oh, go ahead.
Jasmine sees Aladdin
Yes.
and decides to like,
Play along.
yeah, she like tries to seduce Jafar. But Jafar, you're so handsome. And Jafar's like, yes.
Uncomfy. I don't like it.
It's a little
Yeah.
but Aladdin almost gets the lamp, doesn't. And then Jafar does the whole like, you want to see how snake-like I can be, and turns into a big snake.
Oh, I love that part.
Very good.
And Aladdin has the sword and they have a little fight. He does not get the lamp
He doesn't get the lamp.
because he has the wise move to convince Jafar, who thinks he's the most
He
powerful man in the world.
he remembers what Genie has said about being a genie isn't all that great.
It's a curse
It's a curse. And he's like, I think I convinced this guy.
to become a
want
genie.
Because he says, like, you think you're the most powerful thing in the universe, and you're not, because everything you have, the genie gave you, and he can take it all away. And that's where Jafar's like, oh, well, then I wish to become the most powerful genie in the universe. And then we get a really cool animated sequence because Robin Genie is like, great going, kid. And then, like, with his finger gun is like, pew.
Yeah.
Hope you know what you're doing.
Have you heard of like the philosophical argument of God's existence called the rock hypothesis?
What?
Have anyone heard about this?
you talking about?
It's the whole idea that like if a deity is supposed to be like omnipotent.
Can he create a rock that he cannot move?
Yes.
I do know this, yes.
You know that this
Yes.
This is like the whole thing with the genie. Can the genie create something more powerful than him? Something that he can't
The answer is seemingly yes.
The answer is seemingly yes.
He does make Jafar a
Well,
genie.
he can make him a genie. We don't know if he's more powerful, though.
But that means like the genie, like the Jafar genie would be more powerful than regular genie. But even though the Robin genie made Jafar genie, so yeah.
Maybe Jafar Genie just doesn't have to go by those 4 rules.
It's I don't know, anti genie, bad genie, evil genie. But then yeah, he turns into this big red genie, and he's like twirling around cosmic shit, and he's doing like unlimited awesome power. And then Aladdin's like, "Oh Jafar, you forgot the one key thing about being a genie." Because it also comes with a price.
Yeah.
And then he like
Jafar gets sucked
sucks
into
him back into
his lamp.
his black.
He grabs
black.
Yago on his way in and brings him in with him.
Poor Yago,
kicks.
man. He didn't sign up for that shit.
Yeah.
No, but it's okay because Yago somehow comes back.
Yeah, Yago comes back and becomes a good guy.
Yes.
Somehow. But we actually will
Somehow
not. We
the
actually
Emperor has
don't
returned.
talk. We actually will not talk about it. It's a thing we will not discuss.
Well, yeah.
Because we simply are skipping
reasons.
We are skipping Aladdin too.
And
So
then-
right now it's a somehow Palpatine returned moment.
Yeah,
It's a
somehow Yago returned. The return of Jafar. Somehow Jafar returned.
yes.
But yeah, the genie takes Jafar, and I like that he does like a little baseball thing.
Yes.
But then he just ends up like kicking it away.
And he's like, another 10,000 years in a cave of wonders will do him right.
Yeah. Sends Jafar away. The evil has been defeated. Aladdin and Jasmine kiss. Aladdin reveals he is not actually a prince. Jasmine still loves him. The Sultan's like, I'm the Sultan. I can just change the rules.
Yeah.
Which it took this long for him to realize that.
Yeah,
but
it just never crossed his mind that he is the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah.
and apparently in their government, he can just be like, I'm just going to change the law at this moment in time.
Yeah.
It's like a feudalist society.
I verbalize it. It's done.
He's like, yeah, so you guys can marry. And they're like, great.
Wow.
And the genie's like, well, Al, what do you want me to do for your last wish?
It's like, I can wish you to be prince again, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, no,
I wish
I
for
wish for you
your
to be free. And then his like gauntlet things,
and
manacles.
It's the reason he cast Robin Williams, because he's really funny for most of this movie. But
Yeah.
He really sells the emotions of this bit.
Yeah.
The really feeling it. His cufflinks are off. And he just like, Al, thank you. And then he does this whole like, yeah, here, wish for something. Wish for the Nile. I wish for denial. No. He wishes for denial.
It's like,
And
yeah,
he gets
right.
legs too. He doesn't have his little tail anymore.
Yes, he now just has legs.
He has
He's like
legs.
walking around. But he still has infinite power.
He does.
Which this movie thankfully does not deal with. He's like, I'm gonna go see the world. And he like packs a little
He's
suitcase.
on vacation.
He puts on
He has a
like
golf bat.
he puts on a goofy hat, does a Hawaiian shirt.
Which apparently I learned recently what Robin Williams did some special for the opening Disney's park, and he wore that same outfit.
You can watch it's
Very
called
good.
like Return to Neverland. And it's
Yeah,
Robin
so it's
Williams
a
like
little tie-in.
walking around the MGM Studios theme park in that exact outfit with the Hawaiian shirt and the goofy hat.
Very
so they're
good.
just pulling from that.
Very good.
I
I have
recently
to say, with this scene, the one thing that's like always breaks my heart is when he passed away. Disney put on their Facebook the picture of him losing his cuffs and put "Genie, you're free." Caption. That was like so sad.
Very sad. But yeah, he's free. He puts on a golf club bag and his shirt and his hat, and he's like, sayonara. And we never see the genie
yeah,
ever
we never see him again. He leaves.
again. He's gone.
He's good riddance.
Or-
No.
No.
No, for like
We don't
for
see that
seconds.
genie for one movie and one TV show.
Yes.
We will get to that genie again.
We will never talk about that genie. There's simply no reason to.
No, he doesn't. He appears at the end as the moon.
Oh, he does appear
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end as the moon. So we do see him again. God damn it.
He does come back for the wedding.
But then there's the coda of the movie where it's Jasmine and Aladdin. They're in new outfits and they're singing like the reprise of
A Whole New World.
A Whole New World, and fireworks.
Yeah.
It's great. They kiss, and then the camera pans up, and we see the genie moon wink at the camera. Credits.
This movie's supposed to have a different ending. What's supposed to happen is it goes back to the peddler who sings a reprise of Arabian Nights, and then at the end reveals that he is the genie who's been telling you the story. And Disney watches this movie and thinks they have a winner. Says, take that out. I'll save that for later. So that they can do it, which they do end up doing in the third Aladdin. They bring that back as the ending of the movie.
Okay.
So I think they just end up using that song reprisal.
Yeah.
There's sequel potential here.
This movie's supposed to end with their wedding, and then like just a quick wedding, and then the genie is the peddler. But they're like, we can push that off for a sequel, all right?
Yeah.
We'll Return of
Sequel or
Jafar.
two. Sequel or
Return
two.
of Jafar?
TV show.
TV show.
But that's the end of the movie.
Video games. Merchandising.
Stuart, I think we should just jump right.
Jasmine's got 3 outfits in this movie. Right there.
Spaceballs the cereal box. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the flamethrower. Kids love this one.
So this movie comes out and is a massive success.
Oh, huge.
It cost 28 million to animate. It makes 500 million.
Yeah.
Massive monster success.
Yeah.
Some of the most money, just made at the time.
Yeah.
And are you going to get into why it made so much money?
Because everyone likes it.
No. Going back to your original point, Robin's contract.
Oh,
Yes.
well, so yes. So as we stated in the beginning, like Robin did this for a union scale rate.
Yes.
Right.
And in exchange, he didn't want like his likeness to be like the backing of the marketing of this movie.
And they're like,
Disney went back on that.
Aladdin,
Disney was like, our
starring
fingers
Robin
were crossed
Williams.
when we said that.
There's like a funny, like somebody pointed out that like in the poster, like the main like theatrical poster for this movie, you could make like Disney made an argument that he is not in more than 25% of the poster because the entire upper top of the poster is like the genie looking down on everybody. And it's like a massive presence, but it's technically like a fourth of the poster. And it's like, so it's like they little sniveling that way, and they also like, of course they market it off of his likeness. Robin Williams.
They use his voice in the preview.
They use his voice in the previews, and like Robin went so far as to the point where it's like when it comes like the marketing and things for this movie, he didn't even want to be like mentioned by name, like be like the actor who voiced the genie, like that was like what he wanted, but Disney didn't do that. And of course, like the toys was like the big problem that like they made so many toys off of the genie, which like on one hand, it's like, how can you not make toys from the genie? Like it's just,
Right.
it's a dumb move to not make toys off the genie. Because I imagine like this is the other thing too, that when we talk about Disney movies of this caliber, yes, there's the grossing of the movie itself, $500 million. Imagine how much this movie made Disney in terms of its IP.
Oh, the
And
merchandising.
continues to make.
And continues. Like the fact that there's like rides or parks at Disney or whatever with Aladdin IP. The
Still
fact,
see kids wearing Jasmine costumes. Like,
yeah, that they sell toys from Aladdin. Like
in Tokyo Disney, there's a whole like Aladdin land.
I bet there's like, I mean, I bet just IP alone, this film probably generated almost $1 billion worth. Like, because that's something that like doesn't get talked about a lot with a lot of these kids movies is like, even if the movie doesn't make like a monstrous amount of money, chances are like toys alone is going to be a huge profit revenue for it.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know like how like Cars has made Disney like in Pixar?
It's
like,
one of their most profitable franchises.
The movies don't make that much money, but the toys make
the
so much
toys make so much, billions of dollars worth of just the merchandising.
Stuart,
And Disney Princess are their money makers.
Yeah.
For toys.
we should talk about Robin, what Robin says about the about Disney.
Well, he says like, you know, it's not a shocker that Mickey Mouse has 4 fingers because he can't write a check.
You can't pick up a check.
Yeah. He says that in a Today Show interview.
Because he took the scale rate, but they still used him for his quote.
Yeah.
And Disney attempted to
Make amends.
By sending him a Pablo Picasso painting.
That was like worth like a good amount of money.
And he's like, this doesn't fit with my home decor. You can't just send me $1 million painting and expect it will make things all right.
Because like Robin, he takes this very personally.
Yeah.
Like he's
pissed.
He cuts ties with Disney for a little bit of time. And I think what like Disney is like, if you ask like Disney at that point, they would say it's like, well, of course he's mad. He didn't know this movie was going to make this much money. So he wouldn't have taken such a lower pay rate if he had known this was going to be a success. So now he's making a big fuss about everything because of how much he got like robbed and gypped. But I would even argue, like, just based on like the stories I've been hearing and the research you're doing, like, it's not out of Robin's character to do something like this, to like want to be a part of something that just is going to mean something for like the tradition of animation. It's going to mean something for his kids down the road. So like the idea that like Robin's just mad because he didn't make as much money off of this, I think is kind of hogwash.
I think he's mad that he just didn't respect his contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like he cuts ties with Disney, and they, as long as Jeffrey Katzenberg is there, which he's there for 2 more years, I think.
Yeah. It's when Jeffrey Katzenberg leaves that
And
Robin Williams agrees to come back.
and it's
Joe Roth takes over.
Roth takes over as his CEO. And he publicly announces like
He
makes
does a
like
public apology.
does a public apology to Robin about the whole thing, and he writes him also like a personal letter, and he does so in a way that like actually like moves Robin. And we'll talk about this later when we talk about not Aladdin Return of Jafar, not Aladdin the TV show, but Aladdin and the King of Thieves.
And the King of Thieves.
When Robin comes back to reprise his role as the genie.
Yes.
Which is post said Joe Roth making amends with Robin Williams.
Right. And I do think it's interesting. You still do not see to this day much Genie merchandise. Like if you were to go, you would not see
And I think it's also like
stuff.
it's going to be especially, you know, this is something that I guess we should talk about this episode because, you know, we're living in the current day and age now where like a lot of conversations are being brought up as it relates to AI and the recreation of actors' voices, particularly for like animations and things like that. And Robin is a name that gets brought up a lot. And I think even Zelda Williams like came out and made a public statement about this whole thing, how essentially, you know, pointing out like the ethical problems of this whole
I want to be
idea.
clear. I typed Aladdin Genie in on YouTube, and the amount of AI videos that I'm getting of the genie is crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even just right there. So, and this is because this is like one of the main distinct like profiles of the whole AI topic, that you have such a wide amount of bandwidth of Robin that it would not be very difficult to make like an AI recreation of Robin Williams' voice, which is like what everybody was like not saying with like is what everybody is saying without explicitly saying it. And I think like, especially since Robin's no longer alive and the likeness rights for Robin's falls to, I believe like his children who have like the rights to his likeness. I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine that they all have come to an agreement of like, we're not gonna sell, Robin's likeness for money. Like that's just gonna be kind of like a rule. And so I'd be very interested. Like there hasn't been many like public statements from any of Robin's kids as it relates to their handlings of Robin's likeness rights, but it just based on what you've said, Jill, like you're right. Like you will not find that many like Genie toys today. Like to try to kind of like find them, like you're mostly looking at like collector's items and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I still remember when my friend's husband, the Genie is his favorite character, and when I went to Tokyo Disney, it was the first time I'd ever seen Genie merchandise, and it was literally like a pen and a Post-it pad.
Yeah.
Like that was all they had.
Just the Genie's face. Yeah. Which is
and it wasn't wasn't like Aladdin, it was like just the Genie.
Yeah. And that is where I think Robin's made it clear in public with his views on that. Like if anything, like this is probably as close as to a public statement Robin will ever make. Obviously, like AI wasn't a thing back then, but if you can extrapolate what his words are as it relates to the Disney controversy here, I think you could apply that to like how Robin would react to artificial intelligence recreation to this day. That I think Robin would kind of see it as being like sort of unethical and just a husk and stealing people's work.
Yes.
To make something that isn't genuine and authentic. So, I say all that because like this is like the central movie where that conversation sort of stems from.
Yeah.
But as we said, movie is gangbusters.
Movie cooks.
Movie cooks, makes so much money, and of course they greenlight it for a sequel right away.
Direct to video.
Return
of Jafar.
Style back then, direct to video TV shows.
We will
they
not be
hadn't caught
talking
on
about
yet
it.
that they could make a lot more money if they put it in theaters.
And we will not be talking about it because
Robin's not in it.
As we've like described, Robin is not in it.
But I do think any more post-text to this movie beyond this point is pretext for our next episode.
One thing I do want to say, the person they do get to replace Robin for the Genie and
Dan
Return of
Castellaneta.
Jafar and the TV show. Has anyone seen Return of Jafar or the TV show?
I watched it a few years ago.
Okay. Have you heard the Genie's voice?
Yes.
It's very much Nick Castellaneta.
It sounds like Homer Simpson.
He's trying to do like a Robin impression.
But it sounds like Homer Simpson.
Yeah. So
because it is Homer Simpson.
It sounds just like Homer. Are you pulling it up?
Yes.
Okay. Play it.
Oh no, I wasn't going to play the clip.
Okay.
But
I think that we can.
Yeah, Homer Simpson.
Because Jill, we'll have you back for The King of Thieves.
Yes.
In a few months. But do you have any final thoughts on Aladdin? Original Aladdin?
Original Aladdin. No, it's just I think this is top 10 Disney film for me.
Yeah, I think it's in the upper.
Like, I mean, I give it 9.5 stars out of 10 because there were a few things.
It's basically like purely as a movie, it's basically like a perfect little thing.
It is. It's a great film. It's great for kids, but it's great for the family. Like, I said, our parents went and saw on their own and left me at home.
It's really engaging. It's a fun adventure. It has like a dynamic energy to it that Disney films didn't really have up until this point.
Yeah.
Where like it's just constantly moving. It has big production value. And I think that it's my favorite. Like, I think The Lion King is the best of this era, but this is like my favorite to just like watch. It's very watchable.
Yeah. You always were kind of an Aladdin fan, I feel like.
Big Aladdin kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, like, they don't make it like kind of like this is The Emperor's New Groove, where it's just kind of more chill, not as serious, jokey.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of Disney movies like that.
Yeah, it starts the trend of casting like famous actors in animated films,
Yeah.
which ends up becoming DreamWorks bread and butter. That becomes
yeah.
like the whole bit of DreamWorks when they took over.
Yeah, Disney. I feel like Disney has never been. I mean, they have cast big actors. About kind of the fit.
Yeah, because like after this point, like DreamWorks becomes like the casting of big actors. So does Pixar. That becomes their thing. Disney Animation Studios, like they cast James Woods as Hades, and then like Home on the Range weirdly is like they're like everyone's favorite Judi Dench, Roseanne Barr, like
Danny DeVito.
And Hercules.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and I feel like Pixar even they've had the big stars, but they also kind of just go off of more,
George Costanza in Hercules.
Like the movie Brave has all Scottish actors, and they're not like they're known Scottish actors, but it's not like Robin Williams level.
It's me doing a Scottish accent, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any more final thoughts. I think it all will kind of carry into our next Aladdin piece. But yeah, Jill, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have Jill back on again for Aladdin and the King of Thieves in 4
I
months.
cannot wait.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss Saluk, everyone's favorite.
Luke, everyone's favorite Disney villain.
But thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Bobbin for Robin on our episode on Aladdin. This episode's 2 hours and about 20 minutes long, so it's definitely longer than the theatritrical Aladdin movie.
50 minutes longer than Aladdin.
But that being said, please, if you clicked on this movie thinking or clicked on this episode thinking it was the movie and are mad at us, it's a
Don't.
podcast.
Get over
That
it.
happens a lot, Jill. People click on the YouTube podcast episodes and because they think it's the movie, and then they get really mad. And a lot of these people are Latino, I guess, because all the comments are angry Spanish. But
Picture?
yeah, just by the picture and the title, it's like they see a 2-hour movie or 2-hour YouTube video called Aladdin, and it's got like the thumbnail of like Aladdin.
Oh,
like,
okay. I was thinking of your podcast. I mean,
Right.
That would be
But yeah, so thank you all very much for
you know what?
joining.
If you clicked on this because you thought it was the movie and it wasn't, and you stayed, I hope you enjoyed
Yeah, I
it.
hope you enjoyed the
I
episode.
hope you joined the episode. Yeah, and
And now you can go watch the real Aladdin. It's on.
yeah, if you haven't seen Aladdin already, what are you guys doing?
What are you doing? Like,
What are
go
you
watch
doing?
Aladdin. I don't know.
But join us next week for our next episode on toys.
Yes.
Which will be a very fun episode. As always, special thanks to Rebecca for the graphic design and Michael Van Bogen Smith for the theme music that's now taking you out. We'll see you all next week for Toys for Bobbin for Robin. Bye.